All right. Guys, we are here, okay? If I suddenly disappear, then you know it is Xfinity, but the track is gone. So I'm assuming we are in good hands, okay? So we're gonna get into it. That way we can cover as much as possible. I'm like, wait a minute. So you decided to be fixing whatever the internet right now? Where were you in the morning or these other times? So, guys, I'm glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, all right, all right. All right, our big supporter in the house. Greetings, Sandy. Look at Chloe showing up so early. All righty. Good to see you, Sharon Wade. Greetings, greetings, greetings. All right, guys. Ooh, Susan Ross in the building. Nice. All right, guys, let's get right into it because we don't know how long we're going to have with this internet. So far, right now, everything is good, but let's do it, right? If we don't finish, there's always another day, okay? But I do welcome you. Welcome to Berean Babes. I'm your host, Vale Chikuni. We begin. We have this lady, Naya Gonzalez. She made an appearance on the yellow couch, okay? So let's get into it. I'll be stopping it along the way. So to bring you guys back to speed, oh, Brown Girl in the building. What's up, girl? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So this girl put out a video that went viral, okay? So let's just get that out of the way in case some people are not aware, okay? Where all this is coming from. So she did this viral video breaking off her engagement, okay? Because it was just a short snippet, I never bothered, I didn't cover it, but now she sat down on the yellow couch and tell us the backstory, everything that happened. So we are going to get into it. So I'm glad that you guys are here. So let's just do this and then we'll get to it right away, okay? Here we go. So this is where everything started, okay? Here we go.
I have been debating sharing this with the internet. I always said that I was never going to be the kind of influencer that only shares the good parts of my life. I've been able to build a platform because I'm authentic. It's really important for me to own my narrative instead of letting people assume and start rumors. Ending my engagement was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do in my entire life. It's really not the breakup itself that's hard, but it's also having to break up with the idea of the future that you planned and grieving that too. And at this big age, 31 years old, it feels like your clock is ticking faster and faster. I think that if sharing my story helps just one person, then it's worth it. I was trying so hard to make it work. Eventually, trying to make it work felt exhausting. It literally took me accepting the hard truth that I tried to ignore. Now, the moment I accepted that and said it out loud, I felt so much relief and honestly freedom. Not because I didn't care. I was finally listening to myself. Now I have to start over, rebuild myself, move out. It's scary. There's a lot of uncertainty, but that's also kind of the beauty in all of this. I get to start over. I am doing my best and I'm figuring it out one day at a time. So that's my truth. Love you. Bye. I ended my engagement.
All right. So that's how they are explaining to her audience as to why she ended her engagement. She is an influencer and she felt that she has walked through her life telling people everything. So now she has to tell them this. So on that regard, I'm like, okay, at least you're being consistent. Okay. So if you're living this life that you're showing people everything else you're doing, yes, when it comes to this, it all makes sense that you also have to let them know. Like I said, we did another video yesterday. You can be in front of the camera. You can share, you can do things. Either you're doing that or you are doing things, you've brought cameras inside your home. And every time I've seen people who have brought cameras inside the home, for some reason, things just don't work out. You see what I mean? Things just don't work out. So she seems like she might have done the same thing. And for better, for worse, here she is, okay? So, but now that she's sitting down, okay, explaining everything, how it transpired. So now we have a bigger context to be able to analyze her situation, okay? How she finds herself in this situation. So let's get into it, okay? So here we have the Whitfields, okay, doing this interview, okay? So here they are. I've noticed that they're always coordinating the outfits, That's cool. Looks beautiful, okay? Keep it up, newlyweds. Keep it up. All right. Let's watch this, okay? Here we go, guys.
You made this decision consulting with the Holy Spirit. Is that an assumption I'm making?
No, not at all.
Okay. And so a lot of women desire marriage. A lot of women wait for the day that someone gets on their knee and propose to them. You had that moment. Was that the first time that's ever happened to you?
Ending an engagement?
No, having an engagement.
Yes, it was. Yes,
First
it
time
was.
somebody ever proposed to you and you made the decision to end it. Why is this making you emotional?
We were together for 4 years. And I think when you enter relationships, you never enter it thinking that it's going to end. What makes it a lot harder, I think, is being online and sharing so much. You know, I share everything, my whole entire life. I shared when I tore my Achilles. I share everything. And so for me, my platform has always been about being authentic. And that meant also sharing, ending my engagement.
Okay, right here, guys. We don't even have to go further. So people have been hoodwinked with the social media, with online, okay? The same, we can use this social media for good, but you can also use social media for bad, okay? You don't have to put your life on social media, guys, okay? That doesn't mean that your life is not authentic. You don't have to put all your business on social media. Authentic to who? By what standards? So, but these people have been hoodwinked to believe that they have to put everything in social media, okay? So I do commend her. She put her life on social media when it was good, and she's putting out here when it is bad, right? But she is even acknowledging that maybe because she put her life so much on social media, that's how she found herself in this situation. I trust and believe that there was something that contributed to her life being on social media, okay? Because if you're bringing cameras in your home, you have to act for the camera. You have to act for the camera. You have to approach, you have to do things in a certain way. Who knows? Maybe this lady would have walked away from this relationship sooner if it wasn't for social media. But she had to keep up with the social media. She had to keep up with the appearance. So she kept on. Guys, 4 years in an engagement. Because these people always say they're dating for data correcting. You cannot tell me it'll take you 4 years to correct data on a woman and on a man. I'm sorry, I will not believe it. I cannot buy it. 4 years, somebody put a ring on it. For 4 years, this guy is failing to walk you down the aisle. This guy is failing to take you to the courthouse. He managed to buy an expensive ring. He cannot walk you down to the courthouse. If he's serious, you see what I'm saying? So already they were not going anywhere. They were literally not going anywhere. But I know, okay? I was not born yesterday. I'm a woman. You can be in a relationship. You know, every fiber is telling you this relationship is not going anywhere. But you lie to yourself thinking, you know what? It's okay. At least I have somebody. You know what I'm saying? You're buying time. Maybe he's going to change. Maybe this, maybe that. And that day never comes. If it's for real, it is for real. It should not take 4 years for a man to be like, you know what? You're going to have my last name. So the fact that she allowed this man to strung her along 4 years, she was also a willing participant. So now she's here finding herself on the yellow couch. All these things could have been resolved. Year one, when this dude wasn't matching you to the altar. Okay? So let's continue. So, and then this is another thing, right? Because she lived that life, right? I'm not against her being an influencer, being in front of the camera. No, I'm in front of the camera right now. But trust and believe, I'm not bringing cameras in my home. So you say, oh, this is what I'm doing when I get up. Oh, this is what, no, it's not necessary, okay? We can literally have a conversation right now where we'll be, okay, this is that, and that's just it. So I very much doubt if the next person in her relationship, she's going to keep it private. Because this is her platform. This is her persona. So how many guys are out there want to do that? And we know what's happening with Scotty and the wife. You know what I mean? But let's hear her story. Here we go, guys.
And that in and of itself was really, really hard. And I also, just having to share it publicly too. But that was a choice that I made. Being in social media is a choice that I made. That's a career that I chose to be in. And so when you're dealing with something so personal, but also it's public, it just makes it 10 times harder.
Well, I'm going to let Ashley lead in this. What would you like to ask about that?
I appreciate her acknowledging that's a choice that she made. I don't know if the fiance was being featured in all this, So I don't know, but at least that's the choice that she made. So, more power to her for acknowledging this. All right, let's hear the question from Mrs. Whitfield.
I love that you're transparent. I think that's going to help a lot of people. Would love to just hear a little bit about, what happened. Everyone may not.
My trigger word is alignment and transparency. Though these two words, they always trigger me. Okay? Because there's always something behind the word transparency and the word trigger. You know what I mean? I'm just putting it out there. So I'll leave that alone, okay? Let's continue.
Have seen the post. So we're starting from scratch and just bring us up to speed if we're not aware what happened.
Mm-hmm. It was never like one specific thing. I think when he and I met, I was so young. We were long distance. I was a news anchor in Waco, and he was living in Dallas.
Give us age. You say so young. What is that? How old are you?
I was, I think, 26 or 27.
Okay.
And so, well, I'm 31 now. So what's 31 minus 4?
Yeah.
So I was in Waco and we were long distance. And I think the things that I wanted in a relationship from a man at that time were very different than what it is today and what it's been the last year. We were so young and we were honestly, like, the thing that I was so attracted to about him was that he was just so fun and we connected on so many different things. We used to go to the gym together. Honestly, we were going out a lot, just going out to the club and just living a fast life. And as I grew older, those things became less important to me. And I think the things.
Okay, so this lady said a whole bunch of stuff, guys. If we have to do part 2, we'll do part 2. Because this can be a learning lesson for other people. You know what I'm saying? So notice what she said, okay? What drew you to this guy? And she said that they did fun things together, okay? And they went to the gym together. Guys, you can go to gym with anybody. You can have fun with anybody. You see what I'm saying? These are not the things that you're looking for if you're looking for a lifelong partner, if you're looking for a husband. You see what I mean? You can have fun with an atheist. You can have fun with a Muslim. You can have a fun with a Hindu, all these other things. By the way, she professes to be a Christian, okay? So to me, I'm like, okay, if you're a Christian, you want to settle down with a guy, but the things that are attracting you to this man is because you guys go to the gym together. And then what happens when he stops going to the gym with you? You're doing this fast life. What happens when you stop doing fast life? Okay? If you have 2, 3, 4 kids, you are pregnant, you're 9 months, are you still going to be wanting to live fast life? So if you can no longer maintain the fast life with this guy, is he still going to be in your life? You see what I'm saying? There will be at times where, but like, okay, you know what? You no longer want to go to the gym. What happens? So your relationship is going to be over. Why? Because it was built on going to the gym. Your relationship is going to be over because it's built on having a fast life. Those things are not values, okay, that can sustain a lifelong commitment. If you're looking for a partner, you need those core values that are non-negotiable. So this guy can be 30 years from now, the man still has integrity. You see what I'm saying? Because these are the things that you're looking for. It does not matter at 50 because he values to be a good man. He's not going to stop to be a man of integrity at age 50, at 60, at 70, at 80. But guess what? He won't be hitting the gym at 80, at 70. You see what I'm saying? Those things can come and go. But you need something that's going to be there till the day that this guy dies. So I was just like, this is way too superficial. And I do see it's just like it's too much Hollywood movies. You know what I mean? Like people see the stuff they see in movies and then they try to mimic that in real life. Real life is not like that, okay? You are looking for a partner who is going to drive you nuts, but you're going to enjoy life together in marriage, okay? So these are the things that you're looking for a partner. All right, guys. So I've already stopped it way too much because I'm like, man, we just can't let this lie. Okay. So here we go, guys.
That he and I connected on were no longer there. So we weren't going out. We weren't working out together. We were barely hanging out together and doing things that, build emotional intimacy. So I think that was the biggest change, was he was no longer my best friend.
Didn't I just say the same exact thing? Did I just say the same exact thing? I need to, I need because these people are prophetesses right there, right? I need my prophetess crown right now, guys, okay? I need a prophetess, right? What did I just say? I said, if you are with this guy because you're going to the gym together, you're living this first life, the moment that stops, the moment you no longer do those things, so goes your relationship. And just like that, she said the same exact thing. They are no longer going to the gym together. They are no longer doing their first life together. That was the moment their relationship started going downhill. Duh. That's exactly what's going to happen. That is exactly what is going to happen. If you want to maintain that, you just have to keep going to the gym to be going to the gym. That is not sustainable, guys. That is absolutely not sustainable. Okay? You know how many years I was paying for a gym membership that I wasn't even going. You know what I mean? My husband kept paying for it, I'm like, I'm going to cancel. You're not going. I'm like, no, I'm going to start going. And I never went, And the other day, just say, I canceled the gym membership. I'm like, oh, man, I wish you had canceled sooner. You'd have saved money. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't going to the gym. So if my life was built on that with him, that was it. You see what I'm saying? Oh, so you're no longer going to the gym. That's it. You're done. You understand what I'm saying? So, but those are not the things that you're going to be built on if you're going to live with somebody in a marriage, in a relationship. To me, I'm thinking she's not a young woman. She should have known this. So some of these things to me, like ladies going through difficult lifestyle as it returns to relationships, and it's because you brought this upon yourself. These are the things that you could have easily avoided. You don't even have to be street smart. You don't even have to know certain things. These are just like basic things. So, but I'm glad anyway she's here. We're learning some stuff from her. It's to me, I'm just like, yeah, that's what happens. All right, fine. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
He became my roommate.
And so y'all were actually, when you say roommate, y'all were actually living together at this time.
Yeah.
How long were y'all dating before y'all decided to move in with each other?
I believe 2 years. Yeah.
And that was here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex?
Yes.
So when did you relocate from Waco to Dallas?
In 2022.
In 2022. And so at what...
All right, guys. Okay. So, do you hear what she said? So she moved in with the boyfriend. And after 2 years of the relationship, they moved in together. So you are actually living together with this guy, okay? So because she professes to be a Christian, you moving in with this guy, that was a wrong move to begin with. So if you're going to move in with a guy, in his mind, why should you pay for the milk? You have the whole cow for free. So what you're going to do, I'm just going to put the ring on it as just to make sure that she sits down. She doesn't go anywhere. So for 4 years, living, acting, everything as a married woman, but without marriage. Is it any wonder that one day she woke up and decided, you know what? I'm out of here. So now back to the Whitfield, okay? So this is, to me, right, every time, so Rateras has been doing this for a long time and everything. She does bring in guests on his show. But what I've noticed is the guests are going to say their story, okay? And he never, ever he doesn't challenge his guest. The reason why I say this right there, like all these other things that this lady has just said up to this far, there hasn't been any challenge. So it's not about this lady, right? Right now, this is her story. She's sharing, right? She's learned, she's moved on. How many other women are in this similar situation? So because Lateras has this platform right there and then, it's a point for you to challenge that so that your audience can learn not to do the very same things. But when you sit across the people on your interview and everything, they say these things, and then at the end of the day, oh, sorry, this is whatever happened and everything. She goes her merry way, they go their merry way. What are people going to learn? If anything, you've just heard a story, so what is wrong with a story? So they don't bring those challenges. They'll just ask questions and then they just leave it. To me, that's where I have an issue with his approach, okay? Why? If you are a Christian, okay, if somebody comes, and this is public, it's not like these people are having this conversation behind the scenes and everything else. You could point out right there and then like, oh, you know what? That I see why, you know what? Like, why did you move with this person? You profess to be a Christian. That is against the scriptures. What do you say to that? And this lady can acknowledge. You see what I'm saying? She's here. She acknowledges that, like, oh, those things didn't work out. But if you do those things, you're going to provide a lesson to people who are actually hearing, as opposed they're just going to walk away and be like, oh, wow, what a sad story that happened to her. So there's another person who's also living with the person. That is the situation. Okay? Like, I was in the world, okay? You know what I mean? I did live with my husband. I knew it was wrong for us to be living together, but you know what I mean. I didn't care. I was just like, hey, you know what I mean. A cultural Christian, we just go to church and all these other things. You know what I mean? Like you're living with your boyfriend. But even while I was whatever in the world and ever cultural, I knew it was wrong to be living with somebody who is not your husband. But I still did it anyway because I was out there in the world. I didn't care. You know what I mean? But if I was truly transformed and everything, no way. It's just like, no, you shouldn't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is against what God, this is against the word of God. So are there people who do live together? Yes, they're out there. But it's better to know and acknowledge this is not what God wants. This is wrong. It's better for you guys not to be living together, as opposed just to overlook that thing, pretending like, oh, this is just another story. Let's just move on. Okay? So, no, do not, if you're dead, you have no business living with your, you live with your husband, okay? You cannot be living with your boyfriend. That's, that's not God's design. All right, let's go.
Stage, y'all were engaged for 8 months before you called it off. Were there any, let's go back to the moment that, we're going to go ahead and put this in reverse. How did y'all meet?
Social media.
So I met on social media. Did you slide in his DM? Did he slide in yours? What was it?
I followed him on Instagram, and then I was kind of like waiting on him to slide in my DMs, and then he wouldn't. So I was like, I followed him for like 2 weeks, waiting for him to say something. And just when I was about to unfollow him, he messaged me, and he responded to a story of my Apple Watch, and it was me ending a workout. And I thought I was so slick. I was like, oh, something about let's do like a workout competition or something, but I need your number to.
Shots fired.
And so he gave me his number. And then I remember his area code was 816. So he was from Kansas City. And then that was kind of our connection there. And then honestly, it kind of just happened so fast. Yeah, I mean, he was exactly what I needed at that time.
And then when did y'all take it from just a DM exchange to now we go together?
Yeah.
Real bad.
I had driven to Dallas a couple times. I went with my roommate at the time, Madison. We drove to Dallas. We went out. He used to have a hookah business. So he was doing something at like a rooftop. And so we met him there. And that was our very first meeting. And I really liked him. He was really kind. He was sweet, very attractive. So, and we just stayed in touch. And he was driving back and forth from Dallas to Waco to see me. And I was, doing the same on the weekends.
Did y'all know each other's families? Did you get to, at what point did you meet his family? And
I want to say I know it was in November because I had gone home with him for Thanksgiving and we went on a big family cruise. And that was the first time I'd really met like everyone. I met his dad first on accident. And then
On accident.
yeah, on accident, he surprised him. He flew to Dallas, and yeah, he just so happened to just kind of surprise him. And he was like, "I'm here," and he was like, "Oh shoot, so is she. So I guess we're doing this."
Miss Tab 28, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. He's not challenging because he was living even worse, and the interview could turn on him and ask him about his sinful actions first live. Woohoo! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. So, but to me, Rateras has positioned himself that this is a new chapter with Ashley there, and they're going to be doing these interviews, right? No, there's nothing wrong. You keep doing these interviews, but you're doing the same things that you were doing prior. So to me, I'm like, so what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, we are hearing what this lady, she is saying, okay? I'm glad that she's doing this, but there's people that can be helped with this issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the things that she has said, like, you could challenge somebody. You can actually say something like, oh, wait, you know, like, you as a Christian, why did you choose to live this way? Were you aware this wasn't pleasing to God? And she will say it like this, and then you move on. You know, so, but these people tend to think if you challenge your guest, it's almost like, oh, thou shalt not challenge your guests. You know, you just let them say what they say. That's why, remember when he had this, I forgot his name, but they were wearing a green outfit, Roger or something. This lady was their husband and wife. The guy is a pastor. And then this woman was saying like, oh, she used to make clean up clothes, iron clothes to give to the husband while the husband was going to go out and to cheat. You know, that issue went viral and there was no challenge from Lateras. And I think a lot of people just left Lateras and they got mad. He had to do, oh no, I was just letting her tell the story. It says, we're not saying people shouldn't tell their story. If people are going to come on your platform, the things that they're saying in contradiction with the scripture, you have a responsibility to challenge that. Absolutely. If you don't challenge, you're co-signing. You're just saying like, oh, okay, voila. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just like, man, you know what I mean? If somebody comes in as a guest on my show and say, oh, you know, Vida, I have 2 wives and everything. Oh, I love my wife. I have children and everything else. Trust and believe. I'll be like, you have 2 wives? But how do you think that is pleasing to the Lord? That doesn't mean, you know what I mean? I'll just like, I will not let slide something you should not let slide is the point that I'm making. But guys, let's continue. Thank you for the super chat. Here we go, guys.
And yeah.
And so I like to, so in the book Student of Love, I teach people how to define your core values and then date according to your core values. What you said at the very beginning is something that's making my ears perk up because you said what I liked or desired back then changed just 4 years later. So my question to you is, what were you looking for back then? Because you might, if I ask you something like, what was your core values then? It may go over your head. You're like, I'm 27 years old. I'm not even thinking about a core value. He looked good.
Yeah.
So you may just, and we like to go hang out. He was fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's that, which has nothing to do with core values, which is even interesting. What was it that attracted you to him? You said y'all went out, he looked nice. Did you think further than that to say, this is what I desire in a husband, or were you just here for, you wasn't even thinking like that?
Yeah.
It was more casual that progressively turned something more permanent.
I think, so I had been single for, I think, 1.5 years before I met him. So I didn't think that it would turn into what it turned into, honestly. I wasn't very intentional, I would say. But at the same time, I did know, you know, I wanted someone who was a man of God, who, you know, went to church. His family, he comes from a great family. He grew up going to church. And I knew I knew the things, but I don't think that I put emphasis on those things and really was like intentional in that. And so
no. You see what I'm saying? So this is also leading questions. Okay? So Lateras is leading the guest. What were your core values that you were attracted to this guy and everything? Guys, they already asked this young lady, okay? What made you get to know with this guy? I'm paraphrasing here. She already told us, okay? Going to the gym together, having fun, and having a fast life. That's what she said. And her own words, she said, once those things stopped in their relationship, so was their relationship. Their relationship was gone. Now, after some time, Lateras is going to ask this lady, oh, so what were your core values? What are your values? No. don't forget he's out here selling his book. Okay, so no, tell us. Okay, she has already told you, so we need to go by her. So let's not put in our own words into this lady's mouth so she can give us answers that are not what she was thinking to begin with as far as this relationship is concerned. Okay. All right, so I hope you guys got that. Yes, they call they struggle love. Hey, he got in hot water with that. He got in hot water with that issue, okay? So now this lady, what she said was, she wanted a godly man, something to that effect, somebody who goes to church and all these other things. When did you wanted that? When did you wanted that? Okay, so hear what she has to say, okay? Oh my goodness, this interview. So far, there has not been any challenge, any pushback of this, right? Because we want other people to be able to learn from this, not to repeat the same mistakes that Naya has made. Okay? But I don't think you get that from what we are watching so far. Let's continue.
In the 4 years we've been together, I can count on one hand how many times he and I went to church together. So I said I wanted that, but I also wasn't intentional in, making that effort, I think. And so now, as a 31-year-old woman, and I'm really, looking for alignment in my relationships, even with friends, not just romantic relationships either. I am very
Alignment. So here's the other thing you have to remember, okay? I don't want to put myself in the story, but I also made that type of a mistake. I didn't have my own faith for myself. I was hiding behind my husband's faith, okay? Like, as long as my husband knows stuff whatsoever, I was hiding behind that. I'll tell my story some other time. I did share it back then, but we have no audience now. And when we used to go to this church, and then he left that church because it wasn't a biblical. I had no reason to leave that church, like it was so crazy and everything else, because I did not know. You know what I'm saying? I was just running on the fumes of my husband's faith. Like when he came to my own, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what do I do? I had no clue. You see what I'm saying? So if she said the only time they've gone to church, she can count on one hand. So even if this guy wasn't a church person, if you were a church person, why didn't you go to church? Because she's not telling us that the guy was against her going to church. So she was also not going to church. So you are responsible for your walk when it comes to the Lord. You are responsible for your walk. Your husband and everything else, you're going to grow together, equip each other. Those are the things that are going to happen, right? But you are not going to be standing on your 2 feet saying, I didn't go to church because of my husband. No. You know what I'm saying? There's people who are in certain abusive relationship. The husband might not want you to go to church and everything. I get it. That's a whole different story together. She was free to attend church. She didn't. So that tells me that her spiritual life was not what it should be. Okay, already she's living with this guy and she wants a godly man, but she is not a godly wife herself. You know what I mean? We can do those things as well. Like you want a guy to be like, no, I want the guy to be chiseled, 6-pack, all this. You know what I'm saying? Work out all these other things while we're out here busy with McDonald's. You see what I'm saying? Like, no. If this is what you want in your partner, don't you think your partner also wants the same thing in you? You know what I mean? We always want other people to do other things that we don't want to do ourselves. So I thought that was quite interesting. All right, let's continue, guys.
Like I know exactly what it is I want.
And what is that?
I want emotional intimacy, emotional safety, connection. Definitely 100%. I have to have spiritual transparency and definitely just be equally yoked. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like 100% equal, because when I'm not showing up the way that I want to, sometimes like I expect my partner to hold me accountable and pick me up and vice versa. But I do, think that is really important for me.
There's a bit of cognitive dissonance when you say, this is what I wanted. I wanted a man of God. I wanted this, and you admitted that what you desired, you recognize that it wasn't in alignment with your heart's desire, which is where cognitive dissonance comes into play. To elaborate more on that is this. Whose idea was it to move in together?
Finally, we get a pushback from Rateras. Good job right there. Okay? Yes. So he did good over there. So before we hear her response, right? Naya, she still doesn't know what she wants. These are the talking points that she's heard from people saying that, oh, you need a man who is emotional something. I'm hearing this quite often these days. A lot of people always say that, like, oh, I want somebody who is emotionally intelligent, all these other things. You know what I mean? Those are the talking points that these therapists are pushing out in this social media, okay? If you ask them, what do you mean by that? They won't tell you what they mean by that. These are just talking points. So I know when somebody is just espousing the talking points, okay? Then she moved on. Oh, I need somebody who is, I forgot what she says, but the very same thing is going to happen to her, okay? You, like, don't go for superficial things whenever it comes to relationship. The superficial things are absolutely not going to last. Okay? There's these people just want to be happy. Oh, I just want to be happy. The day you stop being happy, guess what? You're going to divorce your partner. You see what I'm saying? Because the happiness is not there. You're not always going to be happy. Okay? Happiness is just a state of mind that can come and go because of the circumstances, because of the situation. So she's still not there. Okay? She's absolutely not there. But I'm interested to know. So there was a little bit of pushback. Okay, so you said this is what you want, but you're going to this. So whose idea was it for you guys to move in together? All right, fine. So we have number, one. Finally, the question has come through. Okay? So we appreciate that from Lateras. Here we go.
Honestly, it was me. I was pushing to move in together. I was more so pushing for the engagement. I knew he wanted to get engaged. I know he wanted to be married, but it was definitely me who was more like, we have to be engaged before we get married. Not get married. We have to be engaged if we're going to move in together. Like, I at least want that. If we're, his parents were so adamant on us being married before making that step.
Right.
And I'm sure now he's probably, kicking himself in the butt. Like, I should have listened, but I mean.
That's the end of the podcast right now. Okay. If we were in court right now, that's it. No more questions, Your Honor. No more questions, Your Honor. The witness is yours. And if you are defending this client, you'll be like, you know what? No questions, Your Honor. We are ready to hear the verdict. So notice what she said. It was her idea. And to be honest, I personally do not believe what she shared, that she, she was friends with this guy on social media. She waited for the guy to DM her. I absolutely do not believe that. I think she lied. I cannot prove it. It's just my opinion, okay? And I'm going to tell you why I think that she lied, okay? She was friends with this guy. I'm not against people meeting on social media. I've been to 3 or 4 weddings. People met on social media. They're still married up to now, okay? They are good marriages. I don't believe that the guy is the one who initiated when they met on social media. She's the one who initiated it. That's what I believe. I think she lied there, okay? I think she lied there. I cannot prove it, but here's the reason why I'm saying this. Here she is. What is she saying? It was her idea to move in together with this homeboy. Okay? That's number one. Number two, it was also her idea. She said the word she used. I pushed for an engagement. You pushed to move in with this guy. You pushed for an engagement. So in essence, you asked this guy to, you ask him to marry you. So this guy went to go get the ring and put a ring on it. He did not wake up one day and be like, you know what, I want to marry you. Here's the ring. You know what, I want to move in with you. It was all orchestrated by her. And the guy just agreed. So already, she showed that she was calling the shots. She showed that she was in charge in the relationship. Guys, it does not matter how docile a man can be. Men inherently are created with leadership qualities in them. Men inherently are created with an instinct to provide, to protect. They might not be able to do those things because of the circumstances. That does not negate that inherently they have those things in them. Okay? That's why a man in that situation, even if they're not leading, they're going to lead passively, and then they're going to resent you eventually. You see what I'm saying? And when a woman is leading, eventually they're going to get frustrated and tired because they're operating outside what God has created them to be. So inherently, women are just naturals. You don't even have to have a baby. If somebody gives you a baby, you know exactly what to do. In fact, everybody will just bring a baby to a woman before they bring a baby to a man. You see what I'm saying? Because that's women inherently. By nature, we are created that way. But because of the result of the fall, the scripture says that our tendency is to usurp a man's role, a man's leadership. So when that man does not put their foot down, women, we will walk over a man. And it's not so hard for a woman to do that. So, but because that is a result of fall, inherently, we're going to behave like, Lady Eve over there, you know what I'm saying? Like doing all these other things, and Adam is following, and he got in trouble with that issue, right? So as a woman, you always want to make sure to check that issue, like, okay, you know what? How am I moving over here? You know what? Let me step back. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you don't, that's exactly what's going to happen. So already, this is what I'm saying. She pushed to move in. She pushed the guy for an engagement. Now, all of a sudden, I have to believe that it was the guy who initiated the relationship to begin with when they first met online. Oh, no. I do not buy that. I absolutely do not buy that. Because she said, we were friends, befriended the guy, and he was waiting for the guy to make the first move. And then, as soon as she was about to delete, and then this guy made the first move, but this guy was not able to make the first move for engagement. This guy was not able to make the first move to move in. And then this guy's parents did not support you guys to move in together. So already he was raised like that. He knew that his parents would not support him living in with a woman he was not married to. Which means he knows that was the situation from his parents. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, Naya, please come to Berean, babes. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. What are you guys saying, though?
I think it's good that we get an opportunity to learn from our decisions, learn from our mistakes. Like I said, you're only 31 years old. As the old folks say, just keep living. That's what they always say, just keep living. But the reality, and I'm glad that you're giving voice to this, because he had influence around him. Parents that said, hey, you might want to be married before you start playing house, as we used to say. And then you say, well, no, we're going to move together. You admit that you pushed let's live together. And he's like, see? And the thing about it is this, and I want every man to understand this part. And this is what leadership is. Leadership is saying, hey, I know you were pushing for us to move together, but no. You said you want a man of God. This is how a man of God does. I'm not shacking up with you. I created that as a moniker for my podcast to literally say, it's a fun way of saying, I know you're watching the podcast. A lot of people watch the podcast, but they don't make a commitment to just hit the free little thing to subscribe. And that's what we do in these relationships. We don't subscribe. We won't get married. We won't go to that next step, but we want all the benefits of it. We want to watch, entertain, do all the other stuff with the people we're dating, but then we don't want to make that full-time commitment. So it's interesting that that's how my podcast has started out. And then this is what your lived experience is. You said, hey, listen, his parents said, don't do this. I know he's probably kicking himself in the butt for making that happen. What made you desire that, though? What made you desire? You said, hey, I know you want to marry me, but let's live together first.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of pushback there from Rateros, which is good and everything. However, this is where Rateros undermines his own platform, so to speak, okay? So, yes, we acknowledge they are married, and I'm glad, I'm happy for them. However, Lateras has been living this life for, he got divorced in 2040 for 10 years. So for 10 years, he had a platform. People came and went on his platform. He was the guy who was single. So the issue is just like, okay, so are you telling the audience that for 10 years, you could not find a woman to get married to? Because Ashley did exist for all those 10 years. Clear. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So you have this platform, but you're single. You are hosting these people, telling them they should get married. You're having all these other things. By the way, he was also dating, and you're dating these women, but you're not marrying them. You see what I'm saying? So, but now, you got married yesterday. all of a sudden now you want to be telling people like, oh, this also tell people they shouldn't just be shacking up. They should absolutely get married. Where was that message for the past 10 years when you were doing your podcast? So that alone, it makes you sound as a hypocrite. Because for 10 years, you were doing the very same thing because you were like, oh, I want to get married, but I just I haven't found anybody. And just like I said, it should not take 4 years for somebody to correct data to know this guy is not the one. You cannot tell me, I cannot believe it, that for 10 years, Lateras could not find a woman to get married to. I'm sorry, I cannot believe it. But for those 10 years, he was absolutely dating. He was absolutely dating. Now, I'm glad he's married. But what happened for the past 10 years? What was going on there? Why you were doing this podcast? You see what I'm saying? So when people were coming after him, it was those things. Like, okay, so you are here, you're a single guy, you are advocating people to get married and everything else. Why are you not married? I can understand for a woman, you're waiting for somebody to pursue you, you're waiting for somebody to come to you. But you as a man, you pursue. And how many women came and went on his podcast? We already know that it was no lack of him finding a lady. At any point for those 10 years, Lateras could have gotten married. But he just didn't want to get married. So we are glad that now finally he's married. But it's that thing that cannot be overlooked. It can absolutely not be overlooked. It undermines his own message. So now here, this lady was doing the very same thing. You know what I'm saying? But at least this one, she's a woman. Okay, I met this guy for 4 years. At least he put a ring on it. Things just ended up down the altar. You know what I mean? But Lateras is so what was that issue that made you decide to live with this situation? So Lateras, what was that issue that made you to stay 10 years without getting married? Can we get an explanation for that, please? Okay, all right. Let us continue. Okay. Start telling single people. Yeah, thank you. Pen out and 5 people getting married to start telling single people what to do. They feel like they have the license to do whatever because they are married. This is exactly where he's going to find himself to be at. You know what I'm saying? Just like, no. And this is also the thing, right? Men are supposed to be pursuing. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing, like, remember, there will be no marriages in heaven. Paul wasn't married. Jesus wasn't married. Okay? You do not want to make marriage as an idol. If a husband comes along, praise the Lord. If a wife comes along, praise the Lord. But you need to be in a situation where you're content, with or without, it is well with your soul. With or without, it is well with your soul. But yeah, you cannot, you're right. There is some truth to what you say. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's just like, okay, if you are not advocating for this is for the past 10 years, now it's too much all of a sudden you want to advocate for this issue. No, man. We see it, but these people keep coming after me. Like Lateras is married. Guys, just because Lateras is married, it does not erase the other things that he was doing. All these videos are still available on his podcast. To my knowledge, he hasn't come out and denounced those things. Okay? Yeah. So this is also the thing. It's just like, oh, it's the same thing. These are the things that, remember, time does not erase sin. Okay? Time does not erase sin. Just because, oh, you know what, it's been 10 years. So what that it's been 10 years? So what it's been 10 years? Did it cause any damage? Did it portray him in a very different light? Yes. I'm not saying that he cannot, you can absolutely repent of any sin. There's nothing that is beyond redemption. Just like him, right? He got divorced and everything else. So like what? We should just glorify divorce now? You see what I mean? No. Absolutely not. But you get the point, you guys, okay? You come here all the time. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Please hit the like button, guys. Okay? Let us continue. Here we go.
I just loved him.
You just want to be
I wanted to be in his skin. Like, so yeah, we moved in together and it just seemed like we were on track we were talking about marriage. And at the time, we were so locked in, like we were going to get married. So, we might skip a step, but it's going to happen. Yeah. So we really felt that way. And we were so, like I said, we were having those conversations about marriage, and it just felt like,
felt right.
It felt right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like we were rushing it. And actually I tore my Achilles.
4 years, you're just discussing about marriage and this guy is not taking you down the altar? No. Okay. Yeah, just like his guy is not taking you down the altar.
Right before. So it kind of came around the right time because my lease ended. I couldn't go up and down stairs and elevators and stuff. So us moving in together, it honestly was helpful in that way too. So there was like life that happened.
What did your parents say about the whole like moving in together?
They really didn't have any kind of pushback on it. They trust me to make good decisions. And I think they felt like if I was making that decision, I was making that decision from a good place or, you know, whatever the case might be. So they didn't really have the same pushback the way his parents did. But also my parents are much younger.
Okay.
And so, you know, they come from a different time, different place and era where, you know, that's not a thing. So
You said you said his parents are like that.
My parents are much younger.
So they're cool with it.
So
Are
they're
they
a little
together?
bit more, my parents,
Yeah.
they're together, but they live separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're married.
They're married.
And so when y'all moved together, felt like it's the best decision, would you do it again? Next person that God brings into your life, would you cohabitate before y'all even get married? What are your views about that?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure that if we weren't living together, that the issues that came about would have come about.
Right.
To know that that wasn't what was needed in marriage, I guess. So I'm.
Yeah, so what's her name? Naya. I don't think Naya says that she's a Christian. I don't think that Naya is a Christian. So my wish for her is to become a Christian, to repent and believe the gospel, okay? So far, everything that she has said, there hasn't been anything there that she has said that will make me be like, you know what, she's a Christian, she's a believer. No, it's just not there, okay? There are just certain things you're going to be able to detect if somebody is truly a Christian. Can somebody fool you? Yes. Can you make a mistake and misjudge somebody? Absolutely. Those things are happening. You know what I mean? We are fruit inspectors. We don't see what is in people's hearts. But the things that she has done and the things that she is saying, that tells me that was a simple yes and no answer. At this point, if somebody comes along, would you still live with that particular person? It took her 20 minutes to respond, okay? But she said that she doesn't know. No, it should not, like, you haven't learned a lesson? You lived with this guy for 4 years. Put a ring on it. Never took you down the altar. Why would you want to do it the same thing again? Even if you're just not a Christian, why would you want to put yourself in that situation again? You've done this before and you're willing to do it again with a different homeboy, expecting different results? Come on now. So that tells me she hasn't learned from her lesson. That's number one. Number two, she says that she's a Christian. I don't think that she is. It means something to be a Christian, okay? She is not a born-again Christian. Let me add that. She's not a genuine born-again Christian. Because if you are a born-again Christian, you will know that you cannot be living with somebody who is not your husband, okay? And if that's what you've done before, right? Now you are in this situation. You still have that option on the table? You are still willing to do that? Like, come on, you know? So no. And even if a guy who's willing to do that, that also shows that the person is not a Christian as well. So this is what she said, right? Notice what she said. And remember, these are the things, right? How you grow up, your environment is going to inform how you move in life. You are responsible for the things that you do. You cannot be saying, oh, I'm abusive. Why? Because my dad was abusive. You see what I'm saying? No. Your dad is responsible for being abusive. You are responsible for being abusive, right? Notice what she said. Her parents were not tripping them living together. And then when it was also, what is the situation with your parents? Oh, no, my parents are together, but they live separately. Okay? We don't know why they live separately. Okay? I don't see, if you're married, you do live together. There's no reason to be living separately. Okay? Be that as it may, she is willing to do the same thing that she has done before. Okay? And now, so that tells me she does not get it to see what is wrong with you living with somebody who is not your husband. Okay? That's not biblical. Like, what are you doing living with somebody who is not your husband? And then she went on to say, there are things that she learned by living with this guy. Okay? Otherwise, she would not have learned in the scriptures. No. That is not an excuse for you to live with a person so that you can learn what's going to happen when you're married. You see what I'm saying? Like, no. You are going to start living together because now that you're married, you're going to be living together. You don't have sort of like, to test and drive the cookies, the goods, and all those things. Okay? Because God has designed those things to be happening in the confines of marriage. And because this is God's design, there's protections within those things. So you do not have to worry how that guy is, how that woman is, okay? If God has brought you guys together, you're going to be fine. That's where you're going to be sanctified, because he's going to drive you crazy, okay? That's where you're going to be the helper. He's going to do all these other things. Those are the things that are going to be happening in that you guys are being married together. So that was kind of confusing. I'm like, oh, this thing that has happened, you're willing to do this again? You know what I mean? So all the other guys who are listening, guess what? Will be like, okay, this lady, she's available. All I have to do is just give her a ring, and I'm going to enjoy everything else. Because you're engaged. You know what I mean? You're not married. It's just an engagement. So yeah, she's willing to do it again.
I'm not 100% sure.
Are you comfortable sharing the issues?
Even one thing.
Yeah. I would say
Good call for you, because she thought like, do I here want to share? Yeah, you protect yourself. You share everything with the social media. So Naya, bring it all out. But yeah. So hopefully she's learning now. Like, you know what? Not everything should be out in the public domain.
I think.
And listen, before you answer, I'm gonna tell you why that's important. My brothers, men, believe that women, you just can't please them. You can give the woman everything. Like, you even showed me a reel that somebody shared where you give this woman this, you go against your own core values, let them move in with you, and then you put a ring on their finger, and then she ups and leaves you for no reason. Like, men are being so triggered by your experience because they already believe it before you even did it. All you did was validate their fear. You validate their fear in saying that, see, you can give a woman, and I've seen it. I've seen this person who was married. Now, I can applaud you for not even getting married and making the decision that you felt like was best for your life. It was a lady that went viral that was married and said, I've been married with my husband X amount of years. He is so perfect. He is so great. He takes care of me. He does this and I mean, she said nothing bad in that video and said, I just didn't want to be married anymore. And people were like, what in the world? Do you know how devastating that would be to give the woman everything that she desired? And she admits, no, my husband takes care of me. He loves me well. He's a great father. He's great, everything. I just didn't want to be married anymore. You know how traumatizing that is to a man, because a lot of men don't even see that as an example. It's most of us. And then to become the example that you want to see and it still don't work out, they become the red pill community. Mm-hmm. Those people like, don't trust women. I hate women. They this, and it just gets very toxic. And so the Dear Future Wifey podcast tries to create a safe space for people to share the idiosyncrasies, the intricacies of relationships. You say, well, this is what I felt. It's not some flighty moment that I had. This is what I really experienced, and by no means uncover that, brother. But I'm just saying something that you felt, whether it was God that showed you or didn't, that said, this is what I felt that I couldn't live long term with.
Yeah. Okay.
Guys, I'm confused. I am absolutely confused. Okay. So hopefully you guys caught it, but if you haven't caught it, okay. Right now, what we have is the story of Naya, okay? We don't know what this guy is about and everything. He hasn't given us his side of the story. What is not in dispute, according to Nara, she said she's the one who pushed her words for engagement. Okay? That is not something a woman should do, let alone a woman who claims to be a Christian. Number two, she said she pushed to be living together with his homeboy. That's what she said. That's not a thing a woman should be doing. And then she's been with this guy for 4 years. For 4 years, guys. Okay? Like, what were you doing for 4 years? You should have walked away from this issue way back when. But she didn't. Okay? And then when she was given an opportunity, if you find another guy, are you still okay to live with that homeboy again? And she said, she doesn't know, which means she's willing to do it. So all these other things that we have found out so far, even if the guy is as whatever else you think about the guy, Nara has proven herself with her own words that, number one, the way she's moving in these dating streets, she's not moving as a Christian woman. The way, the values that she's putting forth, these are not the things that you should be putting forth if you are ready, if you are marriage material, if you want to be a wife. You are out here saying you want somebody to be going to the gym with? You can go to the gym with anybody, guys. Okay? You want somebody just to be having fun with? You can have fun with your homeboys and anybody. Okay? Fast life? Come on. What are we talking about? So now Lateras is going to inject in. Oh, there was a woman who decided to walk away from marriage. The husband was doing everything. And then this lady just decided she didn't want to be married anymore. Guys, marriage is a lifelong covenant. Okay? You just don't get to be like, you know what? Now I'm done. I'm tired. I'm just going to walk away from this marriage as if there's no consequences. Like, do we respect marriage? Do we honor marriage? In what world is that okay? A woman who actually says, my husband takes care of everything. Everything else is fine. But you know what? I just woke up today. I just don't want to be married. And we should be celebrating that? Like, why should we think that is an okay thing to do? Why should we think that is okay? That is absolutely not okay. That is wrong. That if that is your position, if you don't want to get married, don't get married. That's why I say, like, if you want to be dating, you should be dating with an intention of getting married. Recreation dating is unbiblical. If you just want to be dating, having fun, that's you entertaining yourself. You're going to put yourself in a sinful situation. So a woman who's just going to wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm done, I'm out of here, like, that should not be tolerated. That should not be tolerated at all. And then I'm even like, wait a minute. So this woman, you've drunk so much Kool-Aid, you don't value marriage at all. There's nothing wrong in your marriage. Your husband is treating you everything that you want. And then that's it, just like that. Just be like, you know what, I'm out of here. Like, what are we doing? Those are the things that if that person is your boyfriend, whatever, you can do that. Like, no. If you believe what marriage is and you honor, marriage is God's idea. Marriage is a covenant. I cannot entertain any friend of mine who's going to come tell me like, oh, Violet, you know what? My husband is everything, but you know what? I'm just going to walk out of this issue. No, sorry. That cannot be tolerated. I cannot let that in any way, shape or form. And why are we blaming, like, even in that, like, why, the red pill community, that's a whole different subject altogether. But I'm very surprised. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Nara has walked away from her engagement, but all to the build up to why she walked out from engagement, it makes sense. This guy wasn't going to marry her. Okay? She realized that, unfortunately, 4 years later, because she's the one who was, who pushed everything, pushed the engagement, pushed to live in together. And then I guess she was not able enough to push this guy to walk her down the altar. That's why she walked away from this relationship. I know? So that was troubling to me.
I will say, when we first moved in together, I was working my full-time job as a news anchor. And then a year ago in September, we made the decision that it was best for me to leave the job. My contract had ended. They offered me to renew it. And we decided together that, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. So I started my own business, and he said that he would take care of everything financially. So that became the norm for our household. But I think in that, what got lost was the dating. So I think because he was paying all of the bills, it was like, okay, now I don't have to put an effort over here. And I don't think that in his mind he was thinking that way. I don't think that it was intentional or anything like that, but there was just no emotional intimacy. And so that's when I suggested that we go to couples therapy to try and, get that back. And actually it was before I quit my job. It was already kind of brewing before then. And then I quit my job. And then it was even kind of more so because.
Okay, so here, so she said something and then just proved her point otherwise. Notice what she said. She said at the beginning, right? She said the dude was paying all the bills when she was not able to work. So she thinks because the dude was paying all the bills, it created the problems. And then she corrected herself and said, you know what? I think our issues started long before I quit my job. So the issues were already there. Even though she was paying the bills, he was paying the bills, the issues were already there. Don't forget what she told us all the way from the beginning. While she was working and everything, they stopped going to the gym together. They stopped living fast life together. They stopped something else, right? And then they were roommates. That's what she shared long before she had the injury and everything else. So now she's saying this is what she thinks is the reason why they fell apart. Forgetting that she has already told us that the gym, all these other things, no. Their foundation, how they built their relationship, was not sustainable. When those things stopped, that's when their relationship ended. And she's the one who pushed everything to begin with. The very things that a man should do, she's the one who did those things. So they weren't gonna. There was no recovery from these two. They were not going to recover. From the man's standpoint, there was no way, literally. So her not paying the bills and everything, I don't think so. Usually, men, a man has got no problems if they have the means. They have no problems taking care of everything, paying the bills and everything. If a woman is not doing it, men don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? That would be a problem for a woman if a guy is not, responsible financially. But for most guys, if they're the ones doing that, that actually makes them like, you know what? I'm the big dog over here. I know to take care of business. So I very much doubt that this guy started looking at the lady sideways because he was the one paying the bills. Because her situation was like, she was not able to because I think she had an injury and everything else. I don't think that was the reason, if you ask me. Okay. All right. Oh, Tamara Michelle, greetings. Good to see you, sister. Okay. What I say? She could. Yes, I think she had an injury. That's why she quit her job. You know what? That's what Brock already said. Brock said the same thing, Tamara. Believe me. All right, let's go to.
Now I had a lot more free time. And so he works from home. I'm at home. And so I'm like, hang out with me. Let's go do something. Let's go to the gym. Or, like I wanted to spend time with him. And I think it was just, we just stopped spending time. We stopped dating. We stopped doing the things that I guess like brought us together. And as time went on, I think in my mind, I thought, okay, he's working really hard. I'm going to let him grind it out and I'm going to do the same. And so I started getting clients and getting really busy. And then I met women who are, engaged or in long-term relationships too. So, going out to the club, and that wasn't even a thing for me. Like we were going to girl dinners and, so that wasn't a thing. And it's crazy because the very thing that I thought would help, like just by me taking time and like giving him the time is what ultimately like drove us apart. Because I grew in so many ways and he was still kind of just like stuck in his rhythm and flow. And it like became really apparent on my birthday. Like he had no idea what to do or like get me because he's just like, I don't know. So he just didn't do anything.
You guys weren't connecting. You weren't finding time to connect. Did you talk about that with him?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, we talked about it a lot. It was like a broken record, I felt like.
What did he say? What was his response?
He's working a lot and it wasn't that, he didn't want to. And I really like understood where he was coming from. But at the same time, it's like you work from home though, like just an hour, like just take a second. I don't know. And I think I started to become very resentful. So then the resentment got so bad that then it was just like, now I'm unattracted. Now I don't even want, like, it just kind of started trickling down and to the point where it just felt like exhausting to try. At first trying was like, not necessarily exciting, but it was like, we're going to try to get somewhere and I'm on the hamster wheel. And then I eventually like, you just get tired and you want to just get off.
Now, did you?
Yeah. So, wow, that is what is sad to me is she stayed way too long than she should have. But I get it, what she was saying. She thought she was going to be able to change this guy. She thought things are going to change. So she stayed. Because, with the picture, the guy is a good looking guy, and she thought that was going to happen, and that never happened. Every time she says she was the one trying, okay? She was trying and trying her best. So it looks like she was the one who was struggling to maintain this relationship. She was struggling to make things happen. And I believe part of that, because she had this online persona, she was out there on this social media, so she had to continue to be doing those things to maintain her social media platform, all the other things that she was doing. So she continued. She knew deep down this thing wasn't going anywhere, but she tried to fight to do anything. So much so it get to the point whereby she realized, like, you know what? She got exhausted, so she just had to walk away from the relationship. That's what happened to her. Okay, so this guy, as a boyfriend, as a fiance, had no plans for your birthday. Like that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like, at least, like, okay, you know what? I don't know what you want to do for your birthday. What do you want to do? Okay, do you want us just to go for dinner or something? And this guy wasn't tripping, wasn't even bothered. It'll be like, okay, you know what? Oh, on your birthday, I happen to be working and busy, but can we do it on this day or something? You know what I mean? At least something just to acknowledge whatever. So if this guy wasn't tripping about the birthday and everything else, I think, yeah, I think that was a straw that broke the camel. Just like, okay, this guy, of all these years we've been together, now he has nothing to do for me on my birthday. I think she realized, like, that was it. That was it. Yeah. She stayed too long. But, I'm glad that, one, she didn't continue to marry this guy, because if they have gotten married, it was just a matter of time they would have divorced. So it's good that things ended on an engagement stage as opposed to getting married and then divorcing. So for that, at least I'm glad it did, because ladies can push things up until you get married and then you realize, boom, look what happened to David, Elijah. They were literally married for 5 months. Now he's left a wife, a pregnant woman. And the lady was also chronicling everything on Instagram. The guy was already cheating. By the time he was putting a ring on her, the guy was already cheating. And just because he's married you think this guy is going to stop cheating, And lo and behold, the dude never stopped cheating. And now kicked the wife out of the curb. We already did that video, Elijah McDavid. All right, let's continue, guys.
Who say he was taking on the bills. How do you think that weighed on him?
For sure.
As a man?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, it had to have. Mm-hmm. So, half of everything was taken away. Mm-hmm. So, it wasn't like when we were living together and we were engaged and I was still working, I didn't necessarily pay half of everything, but it probably evened out to half. Mm-hmm. So, I did contribute financially still. Mm-hmm. And it was only when I quit that stopped. So I do think that.
Did he start to kind of emotionally disconnect around that time?
It was already before that. We already were in therapy for the emotional intimacy and like wanting to connect before I quit my job.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think her quitting her job, her not contributing financially had anything to do with their relationship. And she has said as much. While she was contributing financially, their relationship was already going to the wayside. So her not contributing financially, I don't think that was the issue at all. I very much doubt it. I don't think that was the issue at all.
And then I don't necessarily think it got worse. I just think it was more apparent for me because I wasn't leaving to go to work and then coming back, Mm-hmm. So now it was just like highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting because I'm one of those people that don't believe every relationship's supposed to work. So I understand the lessons that you're supposed to glean from those relationships that don't work. But then I also can hear moments of, and I'll just share this with you. What would you do? You're married and you experience the exact same thing in marriage. Would you divorce?
No.
Why not?
Because I am married. That's the difference. I think a lot of people online a lot of the backlash I got was, oh, well, you wasted his time and you were engaged. And like, but I mean, I don't want to say the point of being engaged is to be able to walk away, but it wasn't official yet. You know, we were still in that period, that trial period, and figuring it out. And I mean, we really, really did try to get in alignment, and it just wouldn't happen. And I was so unhappy. And it really, I mean, when I ended it, we were in couples therapy when it happened. So it wasn't just all of a sudden. I don't think it was a shock when I told him that I didn't want to, you know, continue on anymore.
You said it wasn't a shock?
I don't think so.
I'm very. Who are these couples therapy? Who are these therapists that these people are going? Because there is quite a lot of therapists out there. They want you to keep going because that's how they make their money. That's how they make their paycheck. They are not necessarily giving you things that are going to equip you to sustain you. And because she already told me over here, told us that if she has no problem, if she was in the same situation, if another guy comes in, is she okay living with that person? So the therapy, that wasn't discussed at therapy. That you guys are living together, but you're not married. That wasn't discussed at therapy. That there isn't any commitment there. Because when you're married, you are committed. You have signed that you're going to be with this person for the rest of their life, till death do you apart. Where is that? So what was going on at this couples therapy? Because it doesn't seem like there was any change in whatever else was going on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm troubled. I'm not against people going for therapy. I advocate for biblical counseling. Go to people who are going to counsel you using biblical principles, because biblical principles are timeless. Because it is the word of God, it's going to work. It's not going to fail. Okay? It will absolutely not fail. But these people, every time, everybody, therapy. Their relationships are just falling apart left and right. So what's happening in this therapy? Okay? What is going on? I'm very troubled. And then she, what else did she say? Let's see, I forgot I think Latera said something, you know, let me play it, guys. Because, oh my gosh, this young lady, what a case study that she is. She's absolutely a case study here. Okay, all right.
I would be surprised if he said that he was surprised.
What was his response?
He said, well, he had like a smirk on his face and he was like, I saw this coming, or I felt like this was coming. And thank you for being honest. And then that was pretty much it.
Was that the last time y'all spoke? Or did he continue trying to put effort to hopefully make you change your mind?
No, we actually continued living together up until a couple weeks ago. So, we actually went on a break in July and we were living together, but living in separate bedrooms. And then in October is when I decided that we were going to not continue. And that was early October. And then I moved out a couple days before Christmas.
So when did you officially call it off? What date was that?
It was, I think, like October 3rd or something. Okay. It was a Thursday.
So it was in October. When people seeing this video recently, it ain't like you made.
So that's a nugget there. So she said that she moved out. So that tells me this was the guy's place, because she's the one who moved out. Because if it was her place from the beginning, then it would have been the guy moving out. And remember, she was the one who pushed to move in to be living together. So that tells me she's the one who be like, I'm going to pack my bags, I'm moving in. Okay? So, so I'm like, okay, so you are the one who moved out. So that tells me that it must have been the dude's place and everything. No, you don't want to be living with your boyfriend. If your boyfriend wants to live with you, they need to put a ring on it, need to take you down the altar. Then you have no problem living together. Until then, no.
Made that decision the day before?
No.
So this happened in October and you took some months to get yourself together emotionally, spiritually, and everything, and then said, now I'll share this with the world. Mm-hmm. Because you share with the
emotionally, spiritually. Yes, Lateras has been adding some spiritual nuggets to it. No, Lateras. You don't have to bring something spiritual that's got nothing to do with spiritual. Come on now.
World that you're engaged.
Yes.
And I've heard a lot of people say, I didn't want to feel like a fraud sharing this happy moment. And then when it ends, then I can't share that as well.
Yeah.
So did you feel the same way?
I did. And there were a lot of people asking me, again, like I said, I share a lot online of my life. So there were a lot of women like, you know, where's the wedding content? Because I did post me trying on dresses at one point and looking at venues, and then it just kind of stopped. And so women were asking, you know, where the dresses were and the content was, you know, or are you still engaged? And there was a point where I did stop wearing my ring. So even though we were on a break, like I would wear my ring in public settings, like big public settings. And then, you know, if I was going to the grocery store or something, I didn't really wear it. But it just, I don't know.
So you were wearing it even, so you're talking about after, was it the break or the final
like even
break?
during the break,
Yeah.
I would wear it in places where I knew a lot of people knew me to be engaged and knew us to be together. And so I would wear my ring then. But if I knew like I was going to the gas station or like somewhere no one would know, I didn't wear it.
So you were keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you said that, and again,
Yeah, so that's why she did keep up the appearance. Why? The pressure of the social media. So she knew, let me make sure my ring is on because people are going to notice, people are going to see. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can, you know, take off your ring for whatever. There's no pressure for you to be like, oh, people are going to think that I'm not married. Wow, I'm not wearing my ring. No, you don't even have to have those pressures. But if you portray yourself in a certain way, it will come with that type of thing. You know what, brown girl, this is a very good point that you bring up. You know what I mean? Yes, I do think, we have no idea the fiance story, but I don't think that guy was planning to marry this lady. Because if he was planning to marry her, he would have already done it. He lived with her for 4 years. At what point was this guy going to take this lady down the altar? 4 years and counting. She's the one who called off the engagement. She's the one who walked away. So that homeboy was like, I'm here. I'm enjoying all the benefits of marriage without being a husband. So why would he walk away from the good thing? Huh? So the guy was just like, well, I'm just going to be here enjoying the fruits up until I can't. So I think that was going on, but wasn't going to change her last name at all. Yeah, so yeah, this is the thing that I do have, like, okay, you know, like ask questions. There was a little bit of pushback there, a little bit there, but overall, this issue almost like, okay, the guy, the fiance is the one who is a villain and everything else, right? But to me, not knowing, you know, we have nothing else about the guy, right? But there is enough information with what Naya has shared that she had the opportunity sooner in this relationship to walk away. But because she didn't, she let it go on for 4 years. Now she's experiencing this resentment, this trauma, this, you know, the online persona that she created. You see what I'm saying? All these other things would have been avoided if she had just walked away sooner rather than 4 years later. You know what I mean? Whatever this guy contributed to this relationship, which it takes two to tango, but at the bare minimum, there are big things over here that Naya herself did and she shouldn't have, but she did them anyway, and she still stayed 4 years later. To me, that's where I'm like, girls, like, you know who you are and what you value. You know what I mean? If certain things are just not in order, they're just not in order. You know what I mean? And has superficial things that she is looking for in a man, if she doesn't change that mindset, she'll find herself in the same situation. She will. All right, let's go, guys.
again, you talk about a couple of things that make it very problematic if you live together with somebody, because you don't go through like a typical breakup. It feels more like a divorce because now you got to find somewhere to live. There's never been a situation where I've dated anybody that when it ended, I had to find somewhere to live or they had to find somewhere to live.
Yeah.
It just ended. It's like a typical, I always believe that there should be different levels of access. And so, if people can look at it, for instance, I'll use a major celebrity. You go to a concert, most people just get general admission. Some people just may be out in the outside. They may come out through the where the back door entrance is and stand out. They couldn't even get a ticket, so they're standing out there hoping to get a glimpse of the celebrity when they walk out or come out to see and wave at them. Some people get a chance to get a ticket, getting general admission. Some people get VIP. You saw that with Chris Brown, and everybody got a chance to take these little pictures with Chris Brown, so they got a little bit of different access. And then some people get an all access pass. All access passes are people that typically work with the artist. They're on the team of the artist, or they work at the venue, and they can come and go. They can go from the audience all the way to the backstage. They get to see everything, all access. Unfortunately, some of us give people all access passes when they only should have gotten general admission. And so what I want people to do is say, come on, let's a la carte those access levels to different people to say, hold on, until we get married, I can't make nobody do nothing. But I don't believe someone should get the all access pass, having bank account information, y'all in each other's bank accounts, and y'all even married. You know what I'm saying? Because if you break up, I got to go sit down with the banker. Can you get her name off?
Well, yeah, guys, should we continue with this dead horse? Huh? Yes, you're right, Simmons. There on biblical analogy, it is simple and straightforward, guys. Let us not complicate relationships, okay? It's a man and it's a woman. You know where you are in stage in life. Do you want to get married? Are you ready to get married? Is that what you desire? What are you looking for in a wife? Do you want to have children? So when you go out on the date, you are asking good, solid questions. This guy, oh, what is the relationship or with your mom? What is the relationship with your siblings? What is your walk with God? What church do you attend? Do you work? What type of job do you do? Do you work? Okay, those are the things that you're asking. Okay, you know what? I go to this church. I'm inviting you to come to my church so you can meet my elders. I mean, next time I'll be happy to come to your church. If this homeboy has a church, you'll be able to know. Okay? He's going to meet your elders. These people are going to ask this guy questions. It might not be you like, okay, what are your intentions with my daughter? What are your intentions with our sister in Christ here? Let us know. Oh, my intentions is to marry her and everything. Okay, fine and good. Okay? When you marry her, where are you going to live? Are you going to be able to provide? These are just simple, basic things that you'll be able to know if the guy is serious. If he's not for you, he's not going to show up, guys. He will not show up. He will disappear, and you know. So this guy is saying, oh, some people, you need to have exercise. No. You're not meeting a guy and you're asking them about their bank account. That is irrelevant. That is irrelevant, okay? Oh, my goodness. It tells you, yes, I have a bank account. And? So what, you're looking into material things? You want to see if his check is 6 figures? Like, why are we asking about those things? Huh? Honestly. So what if the guy shows you a bank account and there's millions in there, but this guy is a joker? What are you going to do? What is the bank account going to do? So just like, no. So the question to ask, like, okay, so Latrell say, oh, don't give them access and everything else. But when you were dating, did you have access with these ladies? Did you have access? Beyond data correcting, beyond something else? So come on now, let's be honest and serious. All right, fine, let's continue, guys.
My account, because she has to come on here and be a signer. Well, we don't talk. Well, I can't remove her name off the bank account unless she shows up. Be like, I don't even want to talk to you, but can you come up to the bank?
Why you having even a bank account with your boyfriend? What is that for? It's not necessary. You guys are not married. Get married, have your joint account, So I don't get it. If the guy is cheating, whatever, he's got money and everything, wants to shower you, man, he can give you your card and go and enjoy it, But that's not...
like, I ain't gonna do nothing. That's half my money too. So it feels like a whole divorce. Instead of just saying, God, I know you're sovereign. I know you said let's do things decency and order. I don't have to rush a breakup. I don't have to rush a failure. And if I do things in your way, then even when it doesn't work out, it's to the best of what you would want, not the worst. And so that's the reason why I asked you, I said, would you do it again? You're like, well, no, because the first thing you thought about was that the reason why we broke up wasn't relegated to us living together. And that's not the question I was asking. I was wanting to know with the experience that you've been through, knowing that y'all live together, knowing y'all in 2 separate rooms, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a awful feeling. I tell Ashley this all the time. I say, listen, and we're freshly married, been married when this episode runs about 2 months.
Guys, please.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Guys, did you hear what Latrell said? If you didn't, I'll be happy to rewind it. Let me know if you heard what he said, guys. Okay, let me know if you hear what he said. I'll be happy to rewind it if you didn't. Okay? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. Like, okay, it's at 38:59 mark. Okay? At the 38:59 mark. So, this is what he's saying. First of all, he said, I should rewind. Okay, I'm going to rewind it. Okay? I'll gladly rewind it. Oh! Okay. Guys, I'm rewinding it. Okay? So listen to what he's saying. Pay attention. Okay? I'm rewinding it right now. Okay? All right, fine. Greetings, Pink Rose. Okay, we are rewinding it. Okay, here. Boo, that was at the 38 mark. So I'll put it at the 37. I'm rewinding it. Okay? So listen. Here we go, guys.
Chris Brown, and everybody got a chance to take these little pictures with Chris Brown. So they got a little bit of different access. And then some people get an all access pass. All access passes are people that typically work with the artist. They're on the team of the artist, or they work at the venue, and they can come and go. They can go from the audience all the way to the backstage. They get to see everything, all access. Unfortunately, some of us give people all access passes when they only should have gotten general admission. And so what I want people to do is say, come on, let's a la carte those access levels to different people to say, hold on, until we get married, I can't make nobody do nothing. But I don't believe someone should get the all access pass, having bank account information, y'all in each other's bank accounts, and y'all even married. You know what I'm saying? Because if you break up, I gotta go sit down with the banker. Can you get her name off my account? Well, she has to come on here and be a signer. Well, we don't talk. Well, I can't remove her name off the bank account unless she shows up. Be like, I don't even want to talk to you, but can you come up to the bank? Like, I ain't gonna do nothing. That's half my money too. So it feels like a whole divorce. Instead of just saying, God, I know you're sovereign. I know you said let's do things decency and order. I don't have to rush a breakup. I don't have to rush a failure. And if I do things in your way, then even when it doesn't work out, it's to the best of what you would want, not the worst. And so that's the reason why I asked you, I said, would you do it again? You're like, well, no, because the first thing you thought about was that the reason why we broke up wasn't relegated to us living together. And that's not the question I was asking. I was wanting to know, with the experience that you've been through, knowing that y'all live together, knowing y'all in two separate rooms, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a awful feeling. I tell Ashley this all the time. I say, listen, and we're freshly married, been married when this episode runs about 2 months. It will be painful for me to sleep in another room and she sleep in the bed. I just don't, I did that too much being single. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to feel single being married. We're going to lay together and we're going to deal with whatever we got to deal with each other in the same.
All right, guys. So here is what Rateras just said. And I'm even shocked. Guys. So everything, when I was saying, I appreciate the pushback, I take all that back. I absolutely take all that back. Why? He just said it himself. The reason why he was asking Naya as to, would you still live with another boyfriend? Okay? And Naya, in essence, yes, you would do it, right? But Rateras said this, guys. Because God is sovereign, you should not rush into breaking a relationship. Because even if you have bad experience, God can still use that. I repeat. This is what Rateras said. The reason why I ask you, if you're still going to live with a boyfriend, let me make it a full screen, guys. If you still live with a boyfriend, another boyfriend, and Naya could not respond to that, Rateras said, the reason why I asked you wasn't like, that was wrong and everything else. I was asking you because God is sovereign. So don't rush into ending a relationship, because those are experiences. God can still use those things because God does things in decency and in order. That's what he said. And yes, I'm here to tell you guys that has got nothing to do with the subject at hand. Okay? Is God sovereign? Absolutely, God is sovereign. But you will not be out here going out living with your boyfriend and then your response is because God is sovereign. No, I'm sorry. That does not jive. That does not jive at all. God is not going to contradict his word. You are not going to be saying that you live with your boyfriend, okay, you're not married to, and your response is going to be God is sovereign? Like, where are we getting that from? Why are we doing that, guys? Okay, what does it mean that God is sovereign? God lives outside time, okay? God is in control. God is all-knowing. There is nothing that you're going to do in your life that God doesn't know, okay? And God says, you know what I'm saying? God is not the author of evil, okay? God is not author of evil. But all the evil things that are happening, they do not thwart the plans of God. Okay? Just like the story of Joseph in Genesis 50. What did Joseph say? You meant it for evil. His brothers meant to kill him. They sold him into slavery. They wanted to do that, and that was evil, 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 evil. That evil they were doing, God was able to use it for good. So you are going direction with your sinful ways and everything else, thinking that you have triumphed against God. Just like when Jesus went on the cross, they were like, yes, we got it. He's dead. You know what I'm saying? And he rose again 3 days later to show that there is nothing that can hold the power of God. You understand what I'm saying? When you go to the story of Job, the devil is saying like, oh, Job only worships you because you give him all these other things and everything. You take away everything, Job is going to walk away from him. And what the guy says, go, have at it. Okay? And yes, Job lost everything. But Job, sir, stood strong on God. And the wife was like, you know what, Job, just curse God and die. And you know what Job says? Like, shall we accept good and not evil from the Lord? God blesses, he gives and takes away. And when Job went to have a meeting with God, because he was like, you know what, I think I'm suffering unjust and everything else. And you know what God asked him? Where were you when I laid the foundation? Do you know where the snow houses are? Do you know what Job said? Job was like, snap. I put my hand on my mouth. I shouldn't have opened my mouth to begin with. Okay? So Lateras is out here telling us that, because God is sovereign, therefore Naya, it's okay for Naya to be living with a boyfriend. And Naya should not rush into breaking the relationship. Because even though things didn't work out, God can still use that. Like, no, that's misusing the scriptures. Okay? That is absolutely misusing the scriptures. It was sinful, it was wrong for Naya to be living with her boyfriend outside marriage. It was sinful, it was wrong because she was out there living there, fornicating, all those things. Those things are wrong. The message to Naya is repent and move forward. If another guy comes along, do not repeat this sin. Do not repeat this fornication. That's the message that should be. Not to be like, by the way, Naya, God is sovereign. So another situation comes along, it's fine. You can go ahead and live like that. Absolutely not. That is not the message. This is the problem whenever people are on this platform. He never steer people to the right direction of the scriptures. What's her name was in this program? Tasha Cobbs. But what do you think? I know the Bible talks about modesty, but how should we apply it in this century? No, the scripture is the scriptures. If the scripture talks about modesty, it talks about modest. It does not change because we're in 2026, whatever the case may be. Do we believe the scriptures or not? So this is the thing. These people have bought into the culture. They think that it's okay. People can live anyhow. No. We don't get that luxury. God's word, God's rules. If you're operating outside that, you're in disobedience, you absolutely need to repent, pick up your cross and follow Christ. So this is the problem. And Naya is going to sit there and think that it's validated. Think that, it was okay for you to live with your boyfriend. No, it was wrong for her to be living with a boyfriend. The boyfriend was wrong too. It was sinful. Not because we are saying it, but because the word of God says it. That's it. That's it. So this guy be like, okay, God is sovereign, all things. God does things in decency and order. So if God does things in decency and in order, yes and amen. So how is that doing things in decency and order by Naya living with a boyfriend outside marriage? The order is to be living with your husband in marriage, enjoying those fruits in marriage. That's the order. Anything outside of that is out of order. Can we hear truth from Latera's mouth that matches the scripture? Guys, are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? So this is the problem. I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait a minute. What I saying? Did you just say that? Did you actually just say that? The issue is not these people like, okay, they should go out there living a sinful lifestyle and then you're waiting like, voila, God is sovereign. No, that's not what we do. You are testing God. You are playing God's face. Our posture should be to honor God. We are called to holiness. Are we going to fail? Yes, we're going to fail. But we are not actually intentionally putting ourselves in those situations, and then our response is just like, God is sovereign. That's cheap grace. That is absolutely cheap grace. I could not believe it. So I was praising him out here, like, okay, good question, good question. He just took all that back, guys, right in our face. So yes, I wanted you guys to hear that loud and clear. Loud and clear. Guys, oh my gosh, where are we? What? Hey, woo, yes, Ashley and Carrie. or their friends, by the way. So we already know what we got from there. Yes, we'll not hear the truth. No, that's not good. That's why I'm saying, like, if you promote godliness, this is an opportunity for other people to learn. Not that, oh, it's fine, you can go live with your boyfriend. You're going to learn something from there because God is sovereign. What are we doing here? You know, what are we doing here? So this is, man, like, no. We are promoting the fruit of the Spirit. That is the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you looking for the guys who have self-control? Somebody who shows out here servant leadership, who leads by example, not leading you into sin, leading you into the word of God. Somebody who has the moral courage, who will be like, you know what? No, it is morally wrong for you and I to be living together. So no, we're not going to do it. And if things happen, can you extend grace? Can you extend forgiveness? But we are not out here intentionally doing these things, right? Are we growing after this repentance? She has already been in this situation. Why is she entertaining? Why is she open to be in that same situation if another homeboy comes along? Why should that be okay? Like, no. So now I know. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what you want at all. All right, guys. Let's see a little bit more from these two.
Same bed. I don't want to relegate myself into a separate room. You know, let's work it out. And so that's what I had to do as a single person dealing with my single life, sleeping alone. I'm not trying to do that married. But then some people put themselves in that position in a dating relationship where they're at odds and then they live in separate bedrooms or whatnot. And then you're trying to figure out when can you move.
No, they were dating. The issue is not about them living in separate beds, in separate bedrooms, guys. The issue is them living together in the first place. It's not about them. Oh, you live down there. You were living in one bedroom. Now you're no longer sleeping in the same bed. That is not the point, Lateras. The point is them living outside marriage and fornicating. Can we be honest about this issue? Oh my gosh.
Some people, I talked to somebody before that said that they waiting for the lease to end and they just renewed the lease. And so they done broke up. So now they got to live with each other until the lease expires.
Yeah.
So you got to live 11 more months with somebody that you ain't with. Now you got to traumatize yourself watching them date other people. They like, I ain't holding my life up. You like, so you gonna bring another woman over here? Yeah, you a roommate at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you like, what did I sign up for? So they like, it's best that you don't come home tonight because I got this chick staying over. You like, this. When I say I've heard it all in my DMs from people asking me advice about certain things, I'll be like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Had a friend that was on the podcast last month, Christina, who got a whole divorce and still living with her husband. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what work? People create these crazy scenarios for their lifestyle that just cause continual trauma to themselves when God is so sovereign just to do things in decency and order, that the pain of a breakup is pain enough. A pain of a failed engagement is even more. But then when you got to go through all this other stuff that you're going through, and it's just, because I saw the video where you moving out or whatever, and I was like, I know that's trauma right there.
Yeah.
I know that hurts. You got to find your own life. Your friends come together to help you move out. Now they're witnessing this transition. It's a whole lot of just trauma where you go, and it literally, if I asked you, it probably felt like a divorce. It just felt like a whole divorce. Why did it feel?
Guys, you know, we're just going to be watching this thing because at this point, I'm like, what are we doing? You know, let's not, the thing is, if you listen what the problem is, trust and believe it's going to be repeated in the community, okay? The problem that we have with Naya, okay? Naya pushed to live with this guy. All those things could have been avoided by her not moving in with the boyfriend. And it's not like there was no objection. The parents objected them living together. Why didn't they listen to the parents' voice, not moving in together? Why did she push to live together? Did we see Lateras addressing those things? In what world did she think it was okay to be living for 4 years with a ring on her finger and this dude was not taking her down the altar? So guys, there are consequences. There are consequences. There is no way you're just going to live with a guy for 4 years and thinking you're just going to walk out from that relationship unscathed. That's not how things work. Anytime you operate against what God has designed, there will be consequences, and those consequences are going to manifest in different ways. In different ways. Okay? So let's not pretend like, oh, that's fine. You guys just live together and then that's fine. You can just walk away. No, that's not how things work, guys. There's cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. But, you know, Lateras does not believe in that clearly. Okay? That's why when people come and say, Lateras, you did all these other things. Oh, but right now I'm married. No, yes, you're married right now. The consequences of you staying longer, 10 years, messing around, dating all these other things, that's why people always bring that up in your face. It's not like those things went away. You, whatever, the struggle of all these other things, that's exactly what's going to be happening. Those are the consequences. So I was just like, man, okay. So they are talking about this video where she moved out of the building. Okay, so this is Naya.
Into something new. So here I am, closing this chapter, putting pieces of my old life into storage, and stepping into a new season. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I am excited. I feel at peace, and I'm ready for what's next in the new year. I ended my engagement, and today I'm moving out. There wasn't any betrayal. He didn't cheat or anything. Honestly, I just changed my mind. Sometimes clarity comes quietly, and choosing yourself doesn't always need a big explanation. But my village, the women in my life, are so amazing. They've shown up for me in more ways than one, helping me pack, sitting with me, praying for me, making a hard transition feel lighter just by being there. I'm so grateful for community, for having people who hold you up when you're stepping into something new. So here I am, closing this chapter, putting pieces of my old life into storage, and stepping into a new season. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I am excited. I feel at peace, and I'm ready for what's next in the new year. I ended my engagement.
Okay, so that's how they are moving out from the place with a boyfriend, right? But I don't think that she has changed in terms of she's just going to continue to be putting everything on social media. And yes, you put everything on social media. It's good for the consumers because, they're going to eat up and everything else. But it's not good for you, your life. If another guy might actually be interested, but they'll be like, you know what? Do I want cameras in my home? No, I don't want cameras in my home. So that will be like, you know what? Let me even not bother to pursue this young lady. And if a guy comes along who is, everything is up and up, come to Naya and say, Naya, I'm interested in you, but I don't want this, I don't want cameras in my face. I don't want my relationship, our life to be content on social media. Is she willing to be like, you know what? Yes, I'm down for that issue. Is she willing? If you ask me, I don't think she's ready for something like that, because these are the things, right? Like you meet somebody, they want to marry you, they want to be your husband and everything else. Your marriage is more important than your content. So if the guy comes and say, you know what, I want to marry you and everything, I'll take care of the things, but I want you to be home, take care of the kids and all these other things. I don't want my wife on social media. Are you going to accept it? If a guy says that. If the answer is no, why not? It's not sinful. But if the guy doesn't want you to be doing that, you should be willing to shut down the cameras, So I don't know. If you ask me, I very much doubt it. So she needs good, solid women around her to be able to counsel her to good things. What they got on this podcast was just her sharing her story, That's just what happened. So is what I see.
Like that. Have you ever experienced, you had breakups before, haven't you? Mm-hmm. What has it felt like this?
This was different in the sense that I think before, because I wasn't engaged, when I broke up with someone, it was much easier to walk away. Of course, the breakup was sad, but it still was like, once I detach and I feel that in my soul, that's not my person, I can walk away and never look back.
Really? You don't never spin the blocks?
I've never spent the block. ever. But with this, it was different because we were engaged and it was public. I made it public. I talked about it. I put him in some of my content. So there was even more of like a incentive to make it work and to figure it out. And, and because we were living together, there was just so many things that honestly, because we were engaged, did feel like marriage, even though I knew we weren't married. So I could walk away, but I still tried like so hard to make it work.
People assume that that was probably easy for you. I want you to spend a little moment about what made it so hard, because even what you're saying now, I understand when you say I made it public, so now I have this different incentive to make it work, so I don't look like a failure in front of everybody. But I want you to elaborate on that as best as you can.
I think what made it really hard, especially like in the months where we were in therapy and I was honestly like fighting with myself, like, do I stay? Do I not stay? I'm unsure. He and I are having these conversations back and forth. You know, there were moments where he even told me, you know, if you want to walk away, like you can 100% walk away. I won't hold you to the fire. But I still like, I wanted to make it work. And I remember at the time he was saying he was working on this project and he was like, just give me to the end of the project. Just give me to the end of the project. And I think the project ended like October 31st or something like that. And I ended it, mind you, at the beginning of October, and come to find out he was still working on that project after the deadline. And I just remember thinking in my mind, like, what if I still kept waiting and trying to, you know, for these things that he's working on to come to fruition or finish or work. And that's what made it hard though, was knowing like he's such a good person and he's such a great guy. I love his family.
It's okay. And I was wanting you to touch on family, and you said it on your own, because when you get that grafted with somebody, you're not just breaking up with him, you're breaking up with the family. And some people may not understand how hard that is. But I'm glad that you will take a moment and you share what that meant for you to have to also break up with the family.
Yeah. You know, I talk to his mom a lot. And I could like, even as we were kind of going through the last maybe 6 months, thank you. I definitely kind of talked to her less and less. And I could tell they knew there was something going on. They just didn't know what. And I know he didn't say. He's very private. And out of, you know, respect for him, I just I knew she would ask. So I kind of distanced myself a little bit because I didn't want to lie either. But it was really hard. I think the thing that made the breakup so hard is, you know, you have these memories with this person, right? And you look at them and you see just all the history that you had, and you just also the future that you talked about, right? You know, we talked about kids and just our future and what that would look like, and it's just breaking up with everything. But at the same time, it's like I wanted so badly for him to be like the one. I didn't want it to be anyone else. Yeah. And so I was like hoping and praying like things would get better and he would change, or things would change, or the circumstances would change or get better. And as time went on, I started realizing that I don't think they were going to change, because I don't think that he truly wanted them to.
Oh, wow, guys. Yeah. So like if you are in it, never ever marry to change a person. You can never change anybody. It doesn't work. It will never work. If you be the change, you be a changed person, and have like what we talked about already, right? Have the things that you're looking for. Okay, not superficial things, the things that you know these things are going to last. Okay? Those are the things that you should be looking for. Okay? And don't look like, oh, I'm going to change him this way. No, it's not going to work. Okay? That doesn't happen. So to me, I feel so sorry, so bad. My question is just like, who was she? Who are her friends? Who is she surrounded with? What counsel does she have in her life? What was she hearing in her ear? Because some of these things I do believe could have been easily avoided, but they were not. But nevertheless, she is here. Hopefully she has learned a lesson. And these people are not even helping, because they're not even pointing out that I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I think the mistake you made was moving in with him. If you had not moved in with him, I don't think you would have experienced this trauma or this hurt. Oh, I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I think you forcing for engagement was not a good move. That was not wise. I don't think you should have done that. Yes, I know that right now you haven't decided yet if another guy comes along in your life, but my advice to you, my encouragement to you, the next guy you move in with, they should be after he has taken you down the altar, then move in with that guy. My advice to you, the next relationship that you have, don't force an engagement. The next relationship that you get into, heal and get ready to be, I want to get married, and have good biblical grounds of what you're looking for, not these superficial things. If you end up going to the gym with your husband, fine and good. But don't be out here saying you're looking for a guy to go to the gym with. Because once you stop going to the gym, you find yourself in this situation. Where is that wisdom, guys? Where is that from these guys? So, Naya, I don't know her. I pray she'll find people who are going to pour into her good, solid wisdom. Okay? Not people telling her, oh, God is sovereign. He does things in decency and order. How is that going to help her? She has no problem living in with another homeboy. You need to be telling people, don't do this, because that's what the word of God does not support, people living together if they're not married. That's fornication. There's nothing good that's going to come out of rebellion. There's nothing good that's going to come out of disobedience. That's not how things work. So we should be able to call those things. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just I think he's smart. He's very... Brother, no quarter for you when it comes to Lateras, man. I appreciate you, girl. Yeah, so, this is not a hidden couch. I'm just what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? After this, everything that we've heard so far, with how this interview has gone, why should Naya go out and do anything else differently? If I was her, I was on this coach, whatever. After this, I wouldn't do anything differently. You can still see she still loves this guy and she's hurt by it, understandably so. She spent her 4 years with this guy. The family, everybody else knew about it. So those emotions are real. Those feelings are absolutely real. Sin leads to destruction, and it will lead to hateful things. Those are the things that actually happen. So it's tied together from simply. Yes, you're right. These are the things, right? So this is the other point, right? So remember, guys, maybe we just have to finish this another day. So here's the thing, right? The reason why is the fruits of the marriage, okay? The honeymoon, the fruits of the marriage. That thing is designed to bond people together, okay? That's, it's actually a beautiful thing, okay? It's absolutely a beautiful thing. That's why yes, I know we sin, we do all these other things, right? But the way God has designed those things is that you should wait and do those things when you're married. That way, all you know is what your husband know, and what your husband know, this is it. You see what I'm saying? And that issue does bond you people together, okay? But if you don't do those things, when you come together, you already have all these other situations that you've been in, okay, in these departments. So you're going to bring those departments in here. And it's not a good thing, right? Just like what Paul says, right? That's a sin against your body. Any other sin that you do commit is outside the body. But your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. That's why it says, and the two shall become one flesh. The two becomes one. So why are you becoming one with somebody who is not your husband? Okay? So now, that's why, again, what God has brought together, let not man separate. Because when you separate those things, there's so many spiritual things that are attached to these things. But because we are so clever that we know better, we think there's no issues to it. No, there's absolutely issues to it. Okay? But thanks be to God that God is loving, God is gracious. Okay? When you repent and you're married and everything else, there is a restoration that do takes place. But there are things in your life, you are going to regret. That doesn't mean God hasn't forgiven you. You actually wish, like, you know what? If I knew what I know now, there are certain things I would not have done in my life. But because I was out there just wilding whatsoever, it's just like, man, what was that about? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to grieve your spirit. It's going to grieve your spirit. So don't even don't go close to the line. Don't even bother to do that. There's nothing there. If anything, it's what we are seeing. This lady crying on this couch. Crying on this couch. It's not a small matter and everything. What a sad situation, guys. I mean, wait a minute. How are we doing on time? Because we've been out here for a minute, guys, and this interview, it has not ended at all. I want to be respectful of your time, So if we have to carry on, we can absolutely do that, So I know where we have stopped this issue. Because I didn't want to do different segments on it. Because at every 10 when she was saying something, it was something, okay? So let's do a last go on this one. And then, we can always do a part 2, okay? So here we go. That way you are prepared in your mind.
And I don't fault him for that. He has his own goals and ambitions for the things that he wants to do. And when I met him, those weren't those things. It came after we got engaged. And I was there with him through, a lot of different business ventures that he wanted to, try. And I was very supportive. And it just got to a point where it just felt like, where are we going? Where are we being, led? Where are you leading us? And I just couldn't trust in it anymore. That's the truth.
Couldn't trust in the leadership.
Okay, so I know where we have stopped, okay? We can always do part 2. So, Ashley, why am I calling her Ashley? Naya, no, there was no leadership there. That is not your husband. That is not your husband. And that man there was no reason for him to treat you as a wife because you were not a wife. Unfortunately, you gave away everything that you should have reserved for a wife issues. So there was no reason for him to show any type of leadership. He got everything he wanted from you. So why should he be showing leadership? Of course, he was not taking you anywhere. If this guy was going someplace with you, it would not have taken him 4 years. It would not have taken you forcing him to put a ring on you. It would have not taken you forcing him to be living with him. So already from the get-go, he knew that you were not the wife. But because everything was already there, you presented it for free on a silver platter, he was like, I'm not going to miss out on the free stuff. That's all. That's what happened. That's why with everything that she said, I'm saying she is the one who initiated anything. But I'm glad she's out of that situation. I'm glad they never got married. So my message for her is to get you good, solid biblical counseling. Another man has to be, put a ring on it, walk down the aisle, then live together. Okay? And don't be like, oh, you need to be doing fast life, going to the gym. Those are useless things. Okay? You're looking for a good, godly character of a man who knows who respects women, who has self-control, who is a godly man, who knows his word, who has a relationship with Jesus Christ, genuine relationship with Jesus Christ. But you need to be ready to be a wife material who is pursuing to be a Proverbs 31 woman, who will be happy to submit to the husband, who will be happy to let go of all these other things and take care of your home. Like, have that posture. If he wants you to continue do social media, have at it. But if he says no, are you in a place whereby you're willing to submit to that issue? So get yourself ready to that issue. So far, you guys, my position. Okay? So, guys, let's, we can do part 2 on that. But before you guys go, okay, I was debating, okay? I'm thinking like, should I buy the book and do a review? Even I already suspected some things in this book. But this lady has done a review on the book, okay? So I wasn't surprised to hear what she said because these are the things I suspected. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. If we should buy the book and review it. I'll put a poll, you guys, you tell me on the post. So be on the lookout. Okay? Start there and then think it's going to jump. Maybe we should just forget this altogether, guys. What do you guys think? I'm also enjoying over here, guys. Let's see. What do you guys say? What did you say? Oh, I didn't. No wonder. I'm like, wait a minute. Something is missing. I didn't bring my glasses. Okay, what I know about the. Okay, so let's listen. Okay, that's fine. Right? So, fine. I'll save my money. All right, fine. So, listen to this lady. I found she bought the book. Okay, and her background. She's a professor. She knows. She gave the positive things that happened to the book, okay? But I was interested to see the things that I suspected. So that's where I put it, okay? So let's, shout out to this young lady.
Okay, so with that stated, I want to go to the sections of the book that I was not as pleased with. So I'm going to go back. And so one of them was use of crude language. And so when I looked at the word crude, it refers to sexually explicit language. And so I was kind of surprised because with the use of the Bible here, I'm thinking, okay, he's really wanted to, bring out the Christ element and the God element here. He really wants to do that. But I was very shocked, even the very first chapter, he was making a sexual reference, and it was to oral sex in particular. And I saw in the parentheses, when I was reading ahead above, and my eye went down a little prematurely, and it went down to a parenthetical. If you're not certain about what a parenthetical is, it's words inside of parentheses. And so for me, I typically write in parentheticals when I write out long pieces of, I have long pieces of writing, I can't help myself. So my eye, if I see somebody else using a parenthetical, my eye draws to that parenthetical. And I remember the parenthetical stated in his book, in that first chapter, get your mind straight. And I was like, what is he talking about? And I looked immediately right before, and I saw the term for oral sex. And I was shocked by that. I was really thrown off. And then I looked at the term before that, and he was trying to name one of the 8 forms of love, I think, established by the Greeks. And I think that term was philassia. And I had to look it up, right? Philassia. And he said not to be mistaken for, I don't speak this way, so I'm not going to say it, but you probably could put 2 and 2 together. And so I was taken aback by that. And before someone comes along and say, that's somebody just joking along and stuff like that, my view is like, you're trying to put this out as a Christian author. And I know no one is perfect. None of us is perfect. I'm not perfect, right? My view is like, it seems like an appeal to the world here. I don't know. And maybe that's his everyday life when he's with friends, with his wife or whoever, and they're totally okay with it. Okay, that's fine. But this is an audience. You're trying to present this story out to the world. And so I'm not going to lie. After that, I was kind of just side-eyeing some of the content because I'm thinking, is this going to pop up again? For me, it was personally disturbing. I didn't think it was necessary, and it didn't even fit in the book, because I'm like, why are we talking about something using sexually explicit language here? Like, that doesn't make sense. And it also made me think, like, he's telling the reader, get your mind straight, which leads me to the next point about using a condescending tone at times to the reader. And again, someone might say, oh, he's just joking. Now, if he does it with his wife, his close friends, that's fine. But this is an audience who, they probably don't even get your humor like that. And I know he's been going on an interview, like a book tour recently across these different platforms. And so he's wanting more people outside his basic audience, his dear future wife, the audience, to read the book. And I totally get that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it seems like the use of that type of language doesn't consider that some people, maybe, who knows how many of those people from those various audiences of those platforms who get the book probably would not appreciate that language in the book. For me, I didn't find it charming. I didn't find it funny. It made me not trust him as much as the author at that point, because I was just wondering why it was there. It could have been taken out, honestly. It honestly could have been taken out. And there's 3 other times in the book where there was some crude language that I didn't think was necessary, and it could have been taken out. And he still withheld his voice, because I know he wants to use his unique voice within his book. And even if you took those pieces out, that crude language out, his voice would still be there. So I wouldn't see any problem with him removing that language, and his voice would still stay throughout the book, and be presented as he wants to be presented. And I'm considering, he again made me think I'm just joking along with folks, but you can have fun in a book, and not at the expense of your reader. Okay, remember, you're on a common mission here. You're trying to teach them something very important, teaching them about love based on your experiences, and then experiences of people who've been on your podcast, and people and also from research as well. So I just found some of the condescending language just a bit disturbing. And I think one of them I'm going to bring up here. So he was talking about at one point about people facing peer pressure, and you're worried about talking to your potential partner and worrying about if they're going to like you or not. And, you know,
Guys, okay. So, I don't know, for some reason I was not able to do the poll. So type BR, that's book review, if you want us to do a book review. And then type no NBR, that's for no book review. So the majority will rule. Okay? So, okay, if majority rule, the book I think is, I believe it didn't show. How much is the book? I don't know, whatever, $20 or something. I think that's how much is the book. So that'll be fine. We can do it, okay? I'll do the labor of love. The labor of love, okay? So, but yeah, this is quite interesting. So this lady says already said, oh yeah, so the winners will win the day, okay? So let's go. Let's do it, okay? And she said at the beginning, it was what? I'm like, wait a minute. All right, let's go.
how you should be okay with being yourself and not having to worry. And he had this part in the book, and he said, and this is precisely where people, namely lovers, get into trouble. They believe their individual identities have to match those around them. If you're a middle schooler, we call this peer pressure. If you're an adult with a job, we just call this stupid. Don't be stupid. So again, he made his mind just be joking, and that's his humor. But this is his book debut in the world out here today.
No, guys, if somebody puts something in writing, it's not a joke, okay? We are not talking somebody producing a comedy book. If somebody is producing a comedy book, then it's a comedy book. But if you put something in writing, that stands. The only time it no longer stands is when you issue a correction. If a correction hasn't been issued, you have written a book, it's out in publication, you are promoting it, so you are standing by everything that is written in the book. So I appreciate this, this sister here say, oh, maybe that's a joke. No, whatever is in the book stands. It absolutely stands. It absolutely stands. So, no, if he wrote over there the crude thing, whatever, that's what it is. That is absolutely what it is. To my knowledge, the book is not a comedy book. To my knowledge, it's what? This is a student of love producing a book on love. Okay? So out here, who defines love? Okay? God defines what love is. So if you're coming out here with your Greek, how they're describing whatever love and everything is not matching the scriptures, oh, no. I'm sorry. And yes, I grant. The Greek, different types of love had different type of language, which is the case, which is actually a true thing it should be. Unfortunately, in English, right, we only have one word when it comes to love. So you determine the context, what the meaning is when somebody says love. So for example, I'll say, oh, I love my phone. And then I can also say, I love my husband. You get the point. But you, as an audience, you actually, I said the same word. I love my phone, I love my husband. But you, as an audience, you actually know. Like, okay, yes, Vi loves her husband. But you are not out here being disillusioned that I love my phone more than I love my husband. You get the point, right? I said, well, I love pizza. So everything is going to determine, but even though I'm using the word love, right? Oh, you love your children. Oh, but you love your job. But those are two different things that will mean a different type of love. So I hope that, I hope that makes sense. So, all right, let's finish up with it. I'm looking to see, we're going to announce the majority are going to rule, okay? I need to vote myself as well, because you guys, come on. All right, fine, let's go.
That part funny. I'm certain there were other readers who have read it, didn't find it funny. We could have known out that language. How are you really going to adequately teach the audience if you're being condescending toward them in that way? And there were some other times he was like that too, that I found, off-putting. and it made me not take in what he wanted to, promote and teach. It allowed me to absorb it as well as I could have had that language not been there. Okay. So something else I noted that was a bit off to me was that he seemed to be talking to more than one audience. So I noticed this in two different ways. In one way, it seemed like he was broken between talking to the world, a worldly audience, versus a Christian audience, with all the use of biblical references and scripture throughout. At one point I'm thinking, oh, okay, so his audience is really Christian, and that's what he's really aiming for. But on the flip side, when he's using that condescending language and the sexually explicit language, which I don't consider any of that Christ-like, then it seems like he's trying to appeal to a worldly audience. So I was confused about who he was trying to appeal to. And then there was times when he was referring to the universe. For instance, he mentioned, radical acceptance taught me that rejection isn't the universe slamming the door on your dreams. It's the universe saying, hold up, I've got something better in mind, but let's be real. To see it that way, you need emotional intelligence. So I appreciated he went into, after this, a discussion about emotional intelligence, but it was the use of the universe as opposed to God, because he had been leading up to this point, already talking about God, and then he switched over to the universe. So I was like, who exactly are you talking to? Are you talking to believers or non-believers, or are you trying to meet people halfway? But either way, I was thrown off as the reader. Okay,
No wonder he always talks about, alignment and everything. Anytime you hear people, universe, that's New Age language. That's New Age language. So why is this New Age language making its way to a book written by a person who says that is a Christian? So it's like this is the secret type of, whatever you give to the universe is going to give back. Guys, like, what are we doing? Okay, what are we doing? Like, no, that's New Age language, okay? I was just like, what? Why are you talking about, whatever she's saying over here? Yep, definitely, yeah, New Age, okay? So the antennas are going to go up over here, okay? Don't be bringing us the universe, okay? God is the one who created the universe. It has no say in anything, guys, okay? We are the image bearers of God. We are the ones who have a say, we are to rule, you know what I mean? Be fruitful and multiply, and you rule the universe. Not the universe telling us, this other thing. That's some New Age language going on, okay? Definitely New Age, okay? Yes. Thank you, Tamara Michelle. Yes, I agree. Love, yes, and Eros love is two different things. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that, yeah? Yes, because there is that romantic love. You have agape love, phileo love, Philadelphia, where we get the word from Philadelphia, and conditional love, all that. So just like, okay, what's up with the universe thing? And what's up with the crude language where she said at the beginning, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? But, we're not surprised. We already know, right? The first thing was like, the next wife, I want to be what? Okay, all right.
Time when I noticed he seemed like he was talking to two audiences is when he had a chapter that was saying, marry young, build strong. I think that was the name of the chapter. It was chapter 11 in his book. And he had a whole case about marrying young. Now, he didn't specify what young meant, but I'm assuming it was in the 20s because he did bring in a reference from one of his future wifey podcast episodes with Jason Wilson and his wife. And I'm familiar with Jason Wilson, who is a proponent for, men being accountable and being the best version of themselves, the best godly versions of themselves they can be. So I love Jason Wilson content. I do recall his story and him saying he and his wife married in their 20s, and they have built themselves up from there as a couple. And it's a beautiful love story. It's not perfect. They've told their love story. It wasn't all pleasant, right? And that's a lot of love stories, right? And so he had a chapter where he was talking about the young people and the benefits of marrying young. And I was kind of confused. I'm like, I didn't feel like most of his audience were people like in their 20s, the young crew, if that's what he deemed as young. I wasn't sure what he necessarily deemed as young. But then there was this young versus older love. And like, if you're older, you're always set in your ways and you're not open to seeing things differently, and you're just stuck at, and when you're in love, you're not rigid and things like that. And I remember reading some of that content and making a note that,
Michelle, I've seen you've already voted. Tamara, Michelle, you already voted. Why are you changing your vote now? All right, let's go.
I know of people who marry young and they act like they are rigid in their ways today. Like, there was a note I made in the book, and Kim, I was like, yeah, they act like they move with heartbreaking cynicism daily. Have you anybody been on the job and faced one of the mean girls? And she's an older lady. Okay, so I'm just saying, I've faced that before, and that woman, that particular woman, more times than not, that people like to admit, she was a woman that married young, and for whatever reason, she's highly bitter today. And that's not every woman, but I've seen that enough times. So I don't know, it just kind of threw that off for me about the younger versus older audience. And if that was the case, if you were trying to also appeal to the older audience, you've offended them in that chapter. So I couldn't quite get who his audience was. Okay, also there was this oversimplification of divorce. That part very much disturbed me because I am a divorcee. And another thing, I honestly thought he was going to go all in and just do, that this was going to be the chapter that he did very well with. So I was disappointed.
You know what? Before she said this, right? I'm thinking Baptiste is 47 years old. So I wouldn't consider 47 years old. Getting married at 47 years old, it's not young. That's not you getting married young. I do support people getting married young. You know what I mean? Like, get married as young as possible, have kids. That way you can see your great-great-grandchildren. However, if you are advocating for people getting married young and you were out here for 10 years, you were not getting married, you got married at 47, then you're going to look down upon people getting married older. Like, what's happening there? You know what I mean? It kind of, I'm like, what's going on? So it does, yeah. So I find that to be interesting. But what she's saying over here, I haven't read the book, but I've agreed. He does have the tendency of lessening divorce, okay? Almost like, yes, I got divorced, people get divorced, so what? Let's just move on. I don't like that mindset. I don't like that attitude. I get it. People do get divorced and everything else. In the same way how we esteem marriage, just don't want, we should honor marriage. We should esteem marriage because it's a covenant. So when people just want to walk away from it, it lessens it. So in the same way, when people divorce, we cannot just flippantly just say, oh, yeah, this person divorced. How many times has Jennifer Lopez been divorced, guys? 6, 7 times, 8 times, whatever. I'm like, lady, like, what are you doing? How many husbands are you going to go through? You are rich, you have everything, you're beautiful. Like what? Like all these men? Like literally, all these men? Like what's going on over there? So like, no, let Hollywood be doing those things. But yeah, so to me, I've seen him, the posture that he does have when it comes to divorce is very, very, it's too flippant, even for my liking. So this lady said the same thing. And she has been divorced herself, but she can actually see that, no, this is not how you cannot just be flippant about divorce. So I thought that was interesting.
When it kind of came out for me as lazy and just simplistic, and he
hold
used
on.
this language at one.
Wait a minute, Tamara, did I see you voted for no? I always voted for book review, though, law. You did? I thought you've not NBR. All right, fine. I stand corrected. All right, fine. Let's continue. Hold on, guys. Here we go.
Point like, yep, I was a marriage dropout, not expelled, not suspended. I willingly chose to walk away by filing for divorce. Some of y'all are marriage dropouts too. Divorce wasn't some accidental slip up. It got too hard, too challenging, and you said forget it. Then you had the nerve to enroll in a different school when it suited you. So I had to sit with that for a minute. I was like, I had to go read it again, see it again, read it again, see it again a few times, because I don't like to just give responses, and my initial feeling was frustration, and I didn't want to give a response off of that. But having sat with it for a while and reread it, I feel like this was a strong oversimplification of divorce. Now, his case, and interest, it seemed like a projection and a deflection on his part. Now, he was the one that ended his marriage after he cheated on his wife. I'm not shaming him for that. He's already been open and honest about that, so I appreciate that openness and honesty. But to kind of almost like turn around and be like, well, those of you who divorced, y'all did the same thing that I did because it was too hard and too challenging, too tough. You just gave up too. No, to be clear, in my particular case, I know, and I was in a relationship with somebody that I did not even consult with the Lord about in the first place. And so, yes, it turned into something terrible in the end, to the point that my ex-husband was mistreating me so badly, I was contemplating ending my life. And the Lord even confirmed in my spirit, in my heart one day. He's like, you stay with this man? Because again, God wasn't a part of my marriage to this man. I did not ask God to come in to be a part of their marriage. But he confirmed it to me. He said, if you stay with this man in the new year, because this was 2021, when all these thoughts of ending my life were coming into my head, he's like, if you stay with him in 2022, you're going to end your life. So I had to leave to save my life. So what he's talking about here, when he's oversimplified divorce in that way, and what I had to endure, two totally different things. So I didn't appreciate that oversimplification. Also, there are people who have been unalived in their marriage who stayed in marriages where the one partner was terribly mistreating the other one. And unfortunately, it resulted long term. Maybe they had a desire to leave, but they didn't feel like they could. And then the partner unalived them, and sometimes they unalived them and themselves. So if that person wanted to leave the marriage and actually live for their life, you mean they was just a dropout too because it was just too hard and too tough? That doesn't make sense. So this chapter for me, I could not really take in, and this was chapter 4. I couldn't really take in anything he was saying in this chapter. He had a beautiful part in when he talked about the story of Joseph that was not pertaining to divorce or anything like that later on in the chapter. But because of this one part alone, I just couldn't take him seriously. I could not take this chapter seriously. So I would highly encourage him to go back and rewrite that and not oversimplify it, because that was highly offensive to divorcees like myself. I don't know about other divorcees and what their experience is, but I was like, they don't even line up. And, and I'm not the only one who's coming out of a marriage where my spouse mistreated me terribly and almost like relished in doing that. So we know that's not love, okay? I trust me, I learned my lesson by choosing the wrong person. I learned my lesson. Okay. And the last point I want to make about what he did was he seemed like he had several moments of deflecting or making assumptions about the reader that I thought was very interesting, and it was kind of off-putting. So it was like he would admit something about divorcing his spouse or, being the person who initiated his divorce, but then he would go back and deflect onto the reader, whoever he was talking to in this particular moment, in this negative way, as if he couldn't just sit with the fact that he had just mentioned that, yes, I've done wrong in my marriage. I was guilty of being unfaithful in my marriage. He wouldn't just let that sit. So a good example of this is, look, I'll admit that I wasn't perfect in my marriage, but one thing about me, I don't expect to get paid for doing nothing. Yet some of y'all quiet quit your relationships every day, showing up but not really putting in the work. So he'll admit, like, okay, yeah, I know I didn't do everything right, but then y'all do this. Y'all can't do this right. I was just thrown off with that. I'm like, why are you talking to your reader like that? And later on he does say, I'm here to help. But I'm like, after you've insulted people, and again, in his mind, he may be thinking he being lighthearted. I don't know. I don't know what the intention was of doing that. But I wasn't feeling it when I saw that. I was thinking like, wow, this is a high oversimplification. And it was very unfortunate. I was very, surprised by that and disappointed by that. And so there were some other points where he seemed to be deflecting, even if he brought up something about him being, for instance, that marriage dropout section I read, the one about divorce. Yeah, I dropped out my marriage, but y'all did too because it was too hard and too challenging. I'm like, please no, sir. You sitting that yourself. That's what you did. That's not what I did. So please just work on not doing things that's going to offend your reader, especially your reader who's genuinely there to learn something new. And that's what I'm there for. I'm just here to learn something new, see if there's something I haven't heard before, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, okay. Yeah. So I saw that. And then my other point that I wanted to make was that he said on one of the chapters, which I thought was very important because it was ironic given what I've just said here. So listen to this. He said, we often project our own experiences and opinions as absolute facts, neglecting the reality of someone else's journey. Sometimes we reach conclusions about others, even though we've never had to face their challenges ourselves. Worse yet, we don't even attempt to judge fairly. Instead, we leap to decisions based on allegations and preconceptions rather than evidence. And even when evidence is present, we fail to extend hearts of love and compassion toward another fellow human. And I wrote a note because in Kindle they allow you to make a note. You can highlight stuff and you can make a note. So I wrote in my note, the author seems guilty of this in this book, based on what I just said.
All lies will be exposed.
Y'all just gave up and quit and didn't have the nerve to find something else to do. That you didn't even try to understand the situation of those, for instance, who have dealt with mistreatment and abuse within their marriages. Not at all. But those of us who lived, and it's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the book. So for me, that was a huge turnoff for me. So it was one of those books at the end of the day they said, there's a saying, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. There were some good points, I'm going to admit that. Like, for instance, chapter 13, or rather chapter 8 for me, was be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That was my favorite chapter out of the whole book. Done very well. The chapter 4 that I just talked about, where he made about this comment about divorce and stuff and simplified it, was my least favorite chapter. Chapter 11, where he talked about marrying young so you can build together, where he was very positive and about young people, but he was very negative about older people, which I thought was interesting because he's now in an older category. He's married now, but yeah, he's still in the older category. So it's like, does it mean the rest of us who are older we're screwed? I don't know. I didn't get it. I thought that chapter felt for me like it was thrown in. One thing I thought that it needed was some more research, definitely some research there. If nothing else, and in the divorce chapter, not the divorce chapter, but the chapter 4, he would have needed to have put some more research in there. Even if he put something from the Dear Future Wifey podcast, I would have appreciated that. But there was nothing from any of the podcasts that he put in that section where he had those comments about divorce. no dear future wifey references, no research references. So in my opinion, that section need to be reworked. The section about marrying young, the benefits of that over being older, and what he was putting out older people a lot, in my view. That needed some research. That needed some more, some more work in the research department. And there was another section regarding one of his final chapters was about sex, which I get about asking questions about sexual views prior to marriage, because he don't want to make the mistake that he made the first time with his first wife, and I get that. So, but I would have loved to see more research in that chapter as well. That overall was my critique. I would probably, out of a 5-star rating, give it like 3 stars. Based on what I've just said. There were some good points I really appreciated, but it was not really solid and strong for me like it could be. It kind of worked against himself, and it's almost, I feel like he's not as comfortable with his story about having been unfaithful in his prior marriage and whatnot. I'm not saying he's going to be like that in his present marriage. I know he's recently gotten remarried, so I'm not saying he's going to be like that, but it seems like he hasn't really settled himself with what happened in his prior marriage, and you can kind of tell it in the book based on my reading, because it's like all this deflecting, condescending speech to the reader, and though it's not all over the book, which I would say that's a good thing, the fact that it's there at all is off-putting, and it would make somebody just want to guess again about wanting to proceed with reading the entire book, and that's not what you want to do when you want to promote love in your lessons. This is your opportunity to shine and help a multitude of people in the process. So I'm a person who believes in I see the good in folks first before I see the bad in them. So I actually believe he's capable of doing better in those sections that I just mentioned. And I'll be open to doing a new review based on the book being reworked in those areas. Like, I wouldn't mind at all, because I know there's potential for it to be a lot better than it is in those particular areas that I was talking about. So that's my review. I hope you were able to gain something valuable from that. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. Let's see. Guys, give her a subscribe, because she helped us here big time. Let me see. What's her channel name? Where can't I find her channel? Hold on, guys. I have a video here for some reason. Why can't I see her name and everything else? Thank you, sister. You did a wonderful job. Wonderful job. I'll find the link. I'll put it in the description. So you guys, comment on her video and give a shout out and say thank you to her and everything. So can you imagine? I'm like, what? Say what? This issue popped up on my thing. I'm like, wait a minute. So if this lady has given literacy 3 out of 5, and you can see she just reviewed the book, very gracious and everything. We do have history with dear future wife. Okay, so by the way, the book review guys won. It's 4-3. As of right now, it's 4-3. Those are the votes that are counted. So the winners as of right now are the book review. Okay, I don't think we can do audio, because if we do audio, I think he can put us in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think he will appreciate. Because we're going to review the book, and we're going to review the book honestly. Because now that he has put the things in writing, so we'll have grounds to hold his feet to the fire. This is what you wrote. Okay? We're not going to give away everything, because he needs to recuperate what he has done as far as business is concerned. So we don't want to come after his pocket like that. So we cannot do audio, because he can absolutely ding us, because he wants people to go and buy this book. So I think we'll get the book and review it, kind of like do her style, what this lady has done, review it that way. You see what I'm saying? I think that will actually be helpful. But I will be objective as possible. Okay? And where I think I'll be like, okay, here, maybe I'm biased. I'm going to say, I think I'm biased here. I'll say this is my opinion. But either way, we are going to critique the book according to the scriptures. Then there we're going to have solid grounds. If it's my opinion, I'll say it's my opinion. Then, people can differ on opinions. So I'll try to do it that way. You guys are making me read the book. You are making me read the book. Guys, no NBR. Why didn't you vote enough over here? Not voting enough. So you better show up when we're doing this book review, guys. Okay? So you better show up. Brown girl, what was your vote? Okay, does not honor the covenant. I thought that was very even interesting what she said, right? Notice what she said that she, like, okay, during the, I mean, even when I heard, I'm like, I suspected some of these things. And this guy has put the stuff in paper. And yes, you're right, Brown girl, well, to say that, because this has been a selling point that Gary Chapman, the guy who wrote 5 Love Languages, endorsed the book. So that has also been a selling point because this guy, her name is Jessie. Oh, thank you. I don't know, for some reason, like when I pull, I can't see anything. So Jessie, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Tamara Michelle, for that. So I've lost my thoughts. Okay, fine. So book review has won. Okay. Brown is not having it. Okay. So we're going to review the book. We are going to review the book and then find out. So to me, I'm even surprised that, yes, wait a minute. So now, man, this issue is going to open up. I've read the Gary book. I've read the book. Okay. Man, I actually have the book with someplace else, somewhere else. I don't even want to open that can of worms and everything else. But I'll say this, okay? The New Age has entered the Christian life. That's why you have the Enneagram has also entered the Christian life. So much so that these, they call them personality type something, okay? People are defining themselves based upon those personality tests, traits, all those things. However, because we are human beings created in the image of God, God is the one who defines who you are and what he wants us to be. If you are in Christ, you are a new creation. There is a biblical pyramid as a standard, how you need to be moving, how you need to be operating. All those other things, they need to come into subjection of your Christian person, who you are. Okay? So you're not somebody else when you're at the market or when you're at work and everything else. But, because we live in this culture, we carve out ourselves like, oh, it's just my personality. Oh, it's just this. I'm like this. Like, no. You know what I mean? If it's sinful, you need to repent, come under the subjection of the word of God. No if and buts. Okay? So, but that's another topic we can explore some other time. Okay? Guys, I mean, like, we've been here forever. Her name is Jessie. So, subscribe to Jessie. I'll put a link. We thank her. She bought the book. She reviewed the book. So, audio for, copyright reasons, we absolutely cannot do audio. You know what I mean? Over here. I would love to because it'll be easy. We'll just press play on that joint. You know what I mean? But I guess we can't, right? Because we want people to go. He wants people to go buy the book. I don't want to stand in a way of him making his bread. We buy the book. We can review the book. And he cannot accuse us for reviewing the book. But, it's kind of like, you guys get the point. Yeah, you guys get the point. Okay, what I'm saying, hold on. All right. Yeah, so she did, I think she, wonderful job over here. All right, fine. Too bad Ladera didn't list any characteristics of a godly husband. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started, man. Because when she said those things, I was very suspecting that, I wonder if, fine, we're going to review the book. Because now my head is spinning all over the place. Right now, I'm like, I'm giving this guy a benefit of the doubt. Now I'm just like, you know what are we doing here? Because the book tour has been there, okay? Can't believe, yes, he wrote a forward. So I wonder if Gary read the book. Because I know people who have endorsed the book and they never read the book. Because you'll be like, wait a minute, if you had read the book, I don't see how you would have endorsed this book. So, yeah, that's that's very yes, same things that's on the podcast. Yeah. So no, Rateras would not have used his podcast as a because if you're backing up as a resource, he cannot use his podcast as a resource. As a evidence, as a source, so to speak. Like, oh, this person said this on my podcast. They are not the authority. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff needs to be researched in order for you to cite that as something as your source. You like, okay, this was on my podcast, whatever. Like, no, that's your opinion on your podcast. So yeah. So I guess fine. We're gonna get the book, guys. You guys have won. Woo! Wow, Jen with the coffin over here. So book review is 5. No book review is 3 by my counting. Okay. If you have written book review, when I put out in good time, you better show up. All right, guys, you guys are the best. Yes. All right. Yes, I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, we didn't even finish that. So yeah, we're going to do part 2 on that one. We'll definitely get the book. Okay, we're going to order the book. Okay, we shouldn't regret. No refunds, guys. Okay, we're getting the book. We cannot return the book. We cannot return the book. I'll get the book. I appreciate your viewership. Okay, we'll get the book review. I think we're going to enjoy it, but we'll definitely do part 2 for the video that we just did, because it was for Naya, you know what I mean. That was interesting and everything else. So yes, we're absolutely going to do that. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for being here. So book review has one. We'll do a book review. We'll do that part 2. Okay. So make sure you like this video, because these people will be coming after your girl, guys. Okay. So I know you guys got my back via your viewership. I know you guys got my back via your comments. So we should continue this conversation in the comment section. And yes, guys, anytime that you're able to join the membership, support us on Patreon, as well as buy me a coffee. Stay tuned. More coming this week. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Double check to make sure you're a subscriber. Hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a thing. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, remember, theology matters. Thank you.